Check. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back into the channel. Welcome to a special day here. A350 operations. We haven't flown the A350 in quite some time. I don't even remember the last time we flew it. I don't know why we haven't flown it. I think we kind of took a break from the long haul stuff, and a lot of you seem to get triggered when I fly A350 on short haul routes, but that's okay. We're about to fly a 747-200, from Phoenix to Vegas here pretty soon. But nevertheless, we are in the A350 1000 Air New Zealand, and we got a little something special, a little addition to the hardware collection. A lot of you have been asking about the side stick that I use and if they're ever going to have a hat switch, and I need a left-sided stick because Moza doesn't make a left-side seat. They only make a right-side Airbus stick, but you didn't want one without a hat switch. Well, chat, I present to you the FSprojects side stick. Oh, I didn't think it was going to cut off the music there, but the FSprojects V2 with the hat. Now you can also get the V2 side stick without the hat for the purists out there. However, with a lot of requests for a trim switch or something like that with an additional button, you now are going to be able to order the side stick V2 with the hat switch. This is on the Moza base. I did release a shorts video about it. Think A220. The A220 has a trim switch for only in pitch, I believe, right, on the side stick, so you'll be able to fly the 220 with it. It is still the closest replica to the actual side stick in the aircraft, OEM, basically one-to-one. It's perfection. So Flight Sim Projects, they make them to order, and they do not accept anything less than perfection with their products. Matter of fact, I know a couple of you in the Discord have ordered the imperfect ones because it was able to get it available. It didn't meet their quality standards, and even the imperfect ones you guys seem to really enjoy. So but anyway, just wanted to give this, we're going to talk about this here later once we get on. Obviously, the pinned comment is the FSprojects website link if you want to check it out. They do have some cool new Moza stuff. The Moza AB9 gator mount, I'll talk about that here in cruise in just a minute. If you saw my shorts video, you saw that. It's basically a plate that you can snap over the top of your Moza base, and then the gator can mount firmly to that. So more to come on that later on, but for the time being, we're going to go back to our full screen cam here just to get us going. And we don't want that. That's the green dot. There we go. We don't need to replay the theme again, do we? Nah, we're good. So but yes, we'll talk about that more. Flight Sim Projects, best side stick grip out there for the A320 series aircraft, in my opinion. I don't know the difference between this one and the real one. It's just that good. Also, green dot, as you saw there, IFE in cruise. It's going to be a fun one. We're going to be taking a look at one that I didn't see. I think Callie Simmer tried to spoil it for me once already, but I haven't seen it. I don't know about it, and we're going to watch a shorter green dot in cruise, and that's going to be it for today. One stream, longer stream, 2 hours in flight, and we are at 5:43 local time here in the morning in Sydney, Australia. So with that said, we're going to skip the shout-outs. We're going to get right to it. So you guys ready for this? Let's do it. JT, what's up, man? You just watched it yesterday? Fantastic, man. Even better, low-level VFR in the 380 makes you mad, Max. Really? Well, you know what? We almost flew the 380 today. I almost fired up the 380, but I don't know. I loaded into the 350 cockpit, and I forgot how good the 350 cockpit actually looks. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to switch the vertical cam back around. Joe Plains, what's up, Mr. Chicago? Yes, indeed, my man. 100 subs to go. Oh, what's going on there with the framies? We need to do a little frame. Oh, you know what it is? Hold on. I need to launch these. Give me a second. Yeah, because I have my LOD at like 350 right now, whatever the max is, because we were flying on VFR. So I got to launch my auto LOD here, and then we'll be good to go. Stand by. Are you using XP72's PC? No, I did see that he was streaming his old PC on the Airbus flight. That was pretty wild, man. I can't believe he used to fly like that on that PC. All right. We're good to go. Making a YouTube account for my cat. What's up, Mac? Yeah, but anyway, I can't believe it. 100 subs away from 50,000 subs. That just blows my mind. Callie Simmer.
Come on now. Never. Lol.
Callie Simmer, thank you for the $10 bank angle check. I appreciate you, Callie Simmer. Very, very kind of you. Appreciate that. That's going right into the Cafe Con Leche Fund. Hope you're having a wonderful day out there on the West Coast. Appreciate you. Thank you again for the $10 bank angle check. Spoiler alert. Pat, you said you subscribed your mom to get us one closer. Hold on, chat. I gotta all right. Make sure everything's good there. All right. Hot day in California. I know, Luke. I would have done a second stream today, but I got to take my truck in. I got to do a brake pad, brake change and oil change and tire rotation. So I got to take that in at 4 o'clock. So I need to just do this one flight and it'll be good enough. Your dog has subbed. I know it. That's awesome, man. Thank you, JT. All right, let's go ahead and get this. I got to figure out where the dome lights are in this thing. It's been a while. Floodlight. Integral lights are up. Dome light. There it is. All right. Airplane's coming to life. Let's go up the overhead here. Let's get the crew supply oxygen on. That looks good. Captain Purrs is also in the captain position. We'll get our ADIRs into a line. 1, 2, and 3 on that. That checks. Coming back down here. Nav lights on. We'll force the logo light on. Seatbelts off. No smoking. No electric devices off. No mobile. I don't know different. Oh, no smoking, no ped, and no mobile. Keep those off. We'll arm the emergency exit lights. External power is up. Fuel tank pumps are off. Fire test. Beautiful. That looks good. Sounds good up the right-hand side. We'll do a magic barrel ref while we're looking at it. All right. Airplane's coming to life. Let's get the initialization rocking and rolling. Now, I did a quick little load up of this airplane earlier to try to refresh my memory, and I kind of screwed it up, so I'm going to try not to do that today. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to flight ops status. We're going to do a sim brief import. That's us, 357 Sydney to Queenstown. Beautiful. Now I'm going to go over here. We'll do initialization, and we'll do a company flight plan request. We'll get this loaded up. I need to update nav data. Options on EFB. Oh no, I forgot because I had to delete the WASMs. Options. Oh no, is that going to cause us to be third party? Update nav data. Switching nav data and updating nav data will clear from my standing, can only be performed without engines running around. Okay, just do a quick update. Stand by. Thank you, Tuco. I totally spaced because I did the update. I deleted WASM and everything. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. There we go. We are updated. All right, let's go back. Let's get everything reset here. Let's make sure we got everything loaded in. Sim brief. I'm just going to click that one more time. Sim brief import. That looks good. Wonderful. FMS flight plan. Initialize. Here we go. Let's go ahead and clear that. Let's company flight plan request. Let's just get a fresh one. We'll get a fresh one going. Bills Mafia, what's up, man? I'll just sub on all my 100 alt accounts. Jeez. What's up, Bills Mafia? Hey, you ready, Bills Mafia? 1 month, man. 1 month. Football season is fast around the corner. Received. Insert. There she is. That's us. Air New Zealand 357. That all checks out. 56, 15, cost index 15. We're going to modify that later on, but that looks good. All right, so the IRS, that's going to be aligning. Let's go to fuel and load. No, let's not do that. Departures. Let's plan this up. So right now we are going to be blasting off 3-4 left. It's going to be the Sydney 3 departure. Just a radar vector. We'll insert that. Now, I want to look at the charts on this because my sim brief has given me some wonky stuff here when we come in for the RNAV into Queenstown. So it comes down there to ADCOS. All right, so let me build from the back side. So runway 05, approach RNP Zulu via Ibabu. I'm going to try that with no star. I'm going to insert that. When I loaded the star, it looked a little bit funky. So let's see how it looks like there. Aha, so Ibabu, I see we've got the curve, and let's throw in the star now. Let's see what it looks like. It might have been because the nav data wasn't updated. We're supposed to be coming down the UDA4 Alpha transition ADCOS. Let's see. Now we'll take a closer look at it here as we... There we go. Beautiful. You know what that actually... Yep. We might just go... We might clear that out. Well, that took the... Did that take the... took the VIA away from it. RMP Zulu 5, Ibabu, UDA 4, transition ADCOS. Alright, insert that. There we go. Now we've got the RMP approach. That looks much better. I think it was indeed a nav data problem. Thanks again, Tutco. Alright, Luke, what's up, man? Need to take time to learn this beast? I need to take some time to refresh my memory on this beast, man. It's, I don't know. I feel like a lot of you want to make this say this airplane's very controversial. Some hate it, some love it. I've not had an issue with it, knock on wood, so I probably just jinxed us. But I think it's a great long hauler, man. JT says, watch since the start of your channel. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Thanks for the 1 month as a member, too, supporting the channel, dude. Very, very kind. Appreciate you. All right, flight plans in the box, nav aids, fuel and load. Now, this is where I had a little bit of kerfuffle. So let's go to load sheet, SimBrief import, set the 0 fuel weight, and we're going to set the fuel. Let's just do a realistic refuel. It's going to take some time to load. While that's taking some time to load, we're going to get the APU fired up. Captain, do a 787 stream. You know what, man? I haven't done a 7.8 stream in a long time. I don't even know if there's a good 7.8 for 2024. Is there a good 7.8 for 2024? Do you guys know? I kind of missed the 7.8, I'm not going to lie. Where's Zippy been? Haven't seen him the last few streams. Hope he's all right. Yeah, he's doing all... Well, I haven't seen him either. I talked to him the other day. He came online. I was in Full Flap Sim Discord voice, and he popped in for a little bit. So he's doing all right. I know he's all right. He might just be sleeping. The Horizon Sim is updated for the 2024. Might have to take a look at that. Horizon is free on Olvix. Alright, APU is coming up to life. Wonderful. APU is almost fully spooled. And we're going to wait for all the fueling to finish, and then we'll, of course, do our net weights. Should have done the PMDD 777-200 Air New Zealand ops. I do love... We have to get back. I think... So here's the plan. When we hit 50K subs, we got a long haul going on. And when that happens, we're going to have to vote for the long haul aircraft. Now, I may override the vote, but it's either going to be between the Fila 74-200. Problem is that's an X-plane. 777, A350, or A380. Those will probably be our 4 options. We'll see. We'll have to post a vote here pretty soon. But I may override the vote. Exactly, AJ. I may override the vote. And listen. I have to do what I gotta do, man. You guys keep voting for boring aircraft. There's no ATC online. Let's set our top altitude, 35,000 feet. Actually, is it 35? Let's go back to init. Flight level 390 is what we filed. 390 is set. Let's clear out the scratch patches. Looks like we're all navved up here. Alright, and then if I bring you back, 45.7, we're still fueling on that. So with that still fueling, we'll start the chrono, give the APU 3 minutes to warm up. Now, this is where I guess this is a good spot to ask. After I get my weights here, I still have to manually import them, correct? I thought, I might have been confusing with a different airplane. I thought you could import these weights in the box, but maybe not. It's just been so long since I've flown this way. A Super Speedbird, JFK to Heathrow. I know, that would be pretty sweet, Joe Plains. Click the box and then hit enter, says Captain Canada. Aha! Thank you, Captain Canada. Appreciate you. I thought there was some trick to that. All right, thank you, man. Good to see you. Hope you are doing well on this, what is it, Thursday? Wednesday. It's not Thursday, right? Yeah, I work tomorrow. Wednesday afternoon. Cooled off a little bit. What's that bracket on the AB9 Flight Force? We'll talk about that here in a minute. Let me show you, actually. If I go to... but essentially what that bracket does is... I took it off for the stream so we can... Well, I'll show you up close. But this will snap on to the base of the AB9, and it allows you to mount. Just see there's some ridges right here. It'll allow you to mount the gator around it, give you a nice firm mounting of that rubber gator. And then there's also the little window right there so you can still see the Moza on the bottom. That's essentially what that does. So I've been just resting my gator on top, but if you have your Moza base on an EFB or on a tabletop mount or something like that, and you want to put that gator on and mount it, you just snap it on, and then you can mount the gator to that, and it acts as a legit dust cover for you. So cooled off. It's only 99F. I know. Hey, it's cooler than it used to be, right? All right, refueling door has been closed. We're up to 45.7. Okay, so we're gonna do this. We're gonna hit the. We're gonna hit here and then enter, enter, enter. That all checks. Passenger number. Does it copy that too? No, we gotta load that up. Passenger was 3 something. Actually, will it tell me? It will. Let's go to our flight ops menu. Let's go to our load sheet. No. Gosh dang it. Flight ops menu, terminal en route, flight ops plan. No. Where is my EFB?
Ladies and gentlemen,
welcome
aboard. We're delighted to have you with us today. Please take a moment to stow your carry-on items in the overhead compartments or under the seat in front of you. For your safety, larger items should be placed in the overhead bin, and smaller items must be securely stowed. If you need assistance, our cabin crew is here to help. We'll be pushing back from the gate shortly, so we kindly ask that you take your seat as soon as possible and clear the aisles.
Tropopause is 363. Destination, weights. Where's our packs? Does it have a packs load on here? I don't see the packs load on there. Let me pull it up on SimFreef. I don't like, that's why, I don't like that format. You need to go to the aisle and count the passengers. Yeah, we need a manual head count. That's always fun. We have to do that when you're out of way. Passenger says 338. 338. 338. Enter. Beautiful. Clear the scratch pad message. Alright, fuel init has been completed. We're 338. Cost index of 15. We'll adjust that in cruise. Initialization, or excuse me, we'll skip that for right now. Initialization is complete. We'll do the takeoff perf next. I'm going to flip you back over. We're going to do takeoff perf. We're going to sync the FMS. Actually, we'll sync the FMS. We'll sync the weather right here. Let's compute the numbers. We'll send this data over to the FMS. 43, 48, 52, flex of 72. Well, that ain't going to happen. Flaps 1 plus F. All right, so let's go ahead and confirm takeoff speeds. That checks. Toga takeoff, please. Flaps 1, THS 30.6, packs on, anti-ice off. Fantastic. I think we're just about ready to go. Last couple things we're going to do. We'll go to the ground page. Let's go ahead and verify that we'll disconnect from the external power. We'll turn the APU bleed on. Fueling has been completed. These are coming on. Get the seatbelt sign on. No smoking on. No mobile is coming on. Now we got some air blowing into the cabin. We'll disconnect the GPU and we'll disconnect the chocks. All doors are closed. Let's get the beacon light on. Get ready for pushback and start. Let's see, as far as ATC, let's throw that in here real quick. FMS, actually I'm going to put this on the serve page on the second side. Let's go ahead, we'll do it and turn that on. Squawking 2000 TAR, right? We'll put you in above mode for right now, that's fine. Weather PWS is off. And we'll flip you back. Let's go to terminal charts. YSSY. The Sydney 3 departure, I'll just show you guys just a vector. We're going to vector ourselves right over downtown Sydney. So it's going to be awesome. But as far as the taxi, that's what we need. So we'll go to the airport reference page 10.9. Man, does Sydney have enough 10 airport pages? Jeez. 10.8 F2. They got way too many pages. All right, we'll zoom this in. We're going to push back. We're going to take Alpha all the way down to 3-4 left. All right, Alpha to 3-4 left. We're about ready for push and start. Reset the chrono. Ready to get out of here. Make sure we are on 22.8. We are on 122.8. Turn you on. Volume up. Sydney traffic. Air New Zealand on 357 heavy. Going to be pushing back here off gate 36. Taxi on 3-4 left in Sydney. All right. Beacon's on. We're ready to go. Throw up the ground ops. Push back. Straight back. Cockpit to ground. You ready for brake release? Ground to cockpit. Go ahead. Release brakes. Brakes release. Clear to push. All right. Let's see. We are at, 24 minutes. Not bad. Not bad. Good afternoon, Avio Man. How you doing, bud? Here we go. A350 equals mid, A330 equals base. Get out of here. Wingnut's in the house. What are you doing, man? I thought you were flying. Don't you have work or something to do? Go do something, man. You're trolling me all the time.
Ladies and gentlemen, may we have your attention, please, for the safety demonstration. Even if you're a frequent flyer, we kindly ask that you watch and listen as we go over the important safety features of this aircraft.
I guess we're going to make the we'll taxi out.
A350 aircraft.
I wish he turned us the other way. Yeah, we'll just go out this way, make a right. V1, will you fly the new CRJ? I'm not a CRJ type guy, man, to be honest with you.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that... I gotta refigure that out.
Nice. Listen, I avoided the CRJ my whole career. It just doesn't get me motivated to fly in the sim. Alexandra Bellini dropping 50 gifted subs. Alexandra Bellini, thank you so much for a massive 50 gifted sub bomb. Appreciate you very, very much. That is a massive dono to the channel. Really appreciate you. Very, very kind. If you pick up a membership from Alexandra Bellini, make sure you shout out and say thank you. Too kind. Now, I forget, do they start 2 or 1 first on the 350? It's an Airbus. We're going to do it logical. We're going to start number 1 first. Ignition mode to ignition start. Packs cut out. Starting engine 1. Here we go. Thank you again, Alexandra Bellini. Really appreciate you. I see what he did. 50 for the A350 and for 50K subs. Hopefully, maybe soon. Closing in on it, chat. We're closing in. All right, shh. Next expo, I promise I'm going to be there. I can't wait to meet you, Alexander Bellini. Can't wait. Sounds are coming full up for engine start. Zach Lewine, stopping by to say hi over there on the cockpit cam. How you doing, bud? Do I prefer side stick or yoke? Side stick, man. I love that beacon flash. That looks good. All right, we got an Avail light on number 1. Let's go ahead and start number 2. Spin it up. Legend for giving people gifted memberships. I agree, Edinburgh Aviation. I agree. Alexandra Bellini, long time member and very generous membership gifter here on the channel. Ciao Baloney. Or Bailoni? Ciao Bailoni. Welcome to Private Pilot. Thank you for supporting the channel. Welcome on board. My first subscriber message on my first subscriber membership on a YouTube channel. Well, thank you. Welcome on board. Appreciate that. Fast Paws in the house. What's up, man? Dude. I gotta fish a Lou all-nighter Friday night from 8:30 to 9:30 a.m. I don't want to do it, but I gotta write in my buddy for his club thing. Ugh. And then I gotta fish Grapevine on Sunday. V1, what's up, JJ? How you doing, bud? 2 sausage dogs and a basset hound. What's up, man? Says booked next week off of work. AB9 arrives. Can't wait. Oh, hey, 2 sausage dogs and a basset hound. That's a smart thing to do, man, because you're gonna absolutely love that AB9. All right, here we go. Flaps coming to 1. Listen to this. Maximilian, I ran the time forward. It's 6:05 a.m. now. The sun is just, because right now I think it's like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning real time. I ran it so we're gonna have a sunrise on the way out there. All right, flight control check. Let's go ahead and do it from. Actually, let's clean up. That's all done. That's on flaps 1. Flight control check. Full up. Full down. Neutral. Full left. We're filling the green boxes. Full right. Absolutely. This new side stick, if you have the V1 side stick and you still want one with a hat, and you get the V2, you're gonna feel the difference because it's got just a little bit more molding on the bottom side there for your fingers. It's legitimately a 1-to-1 replica. It's amazing. Jason Collision, or Jason Colson, sorry, it's 5 gifted memberships. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate that. 5 gifted subs as well. Very, very kind. Appreciate the support. All right, let's go ahead and turn some of this dome light off here. Turn the flood off a little bit. Turn the integrals down a little bit. Turn those down a little bit. All right. We are ready. Let's go ahead and set auto brakes max. Cabin waiting on that. Takeoff config check. Waiting on the cabin. We got to get our PWS's auto as well. All right, that checks. We're all disconnected and ARM terminal charts are coming up. Sydney traffic, Air New Zealand 357. We're going to taxi 34 left via Alpha Sydney traffic. Better than the FSprojects 1v1? This is FSprojects 12509. This is the FSprojects V2, so it's a slightly. I'll show you in cruise, but there's a slight change to the size of the stick, and they also offer now with a hat switch option, which I have here right now, which we'll talk more about too. But it is FSprojects. There is no, in my opinion, there is no better way to go for if you want a replica side stick than FSprojects. Yeah, you got the V1. The V1 is great. I still have the V1. I've been using the V1 for 6 years, man. But it's been popular. It's been a highly requested addition to have a hat switch because people want the full-size replica, but they also want a few additional button features. I'm going to turn the sim down just a hair, y'all. I've got it loud for takeoff, but it's really loud. I'll make the right turn here onto Alpha. Yeah, 2019 Guru.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your captain speaking. On behalf of the entire crew.
I think I might have, no, I thought I dragged a tire into the lights there. All right, flight controls checked. We're waiting for the cabin ready. Light will ding the purser, let her know we're ready. For her to be ready, she's ready. All right, now we'll run the takeoff config test one last time. Takeoff all green, we're looking good. Climb nav blue 390 was set to be a vector departure. We're making a right turn. We're gonna go right over downtown Sydney, so should be sweet. Your lead flight attendant has a side gig running the first order. If this was X-Plane 12, you could see the taxi and tail camera. Yeah, but if it was X-Plane 12, I wouldn't want to see what the cameras were looking at because it looks so terrible outside. Where do I find AutoLOD for 24? Aviation Virtual Spotter. It's called Auto FPS. And all I don't use the FPS function. I use the auto LOD function only. Because I don't want anything targeting or changing FPS. I want it just specifically targeting LODs. But it's just called auto. Look up auto FPS, and the desktop icon is a little beagle, which I love because I got 2 of those. I've noticed brake temp reduces quite abruptly after landing. Would you confirm this impression? Maximilian, are you talking about in the 350 specifically? Remind me, dude, when we're on final or after landing, and I will try to take a look at it. Brake temperature simulation in Microsoft 2020 and 2024 just doesn't seem to be right in many of the airplanes I've flown, but I do not have any recollection whatsoever of the 350 brake temp, so remind me again when we land. We'll take a look at it. I do not use frame gen. No frame gen. All I use is auto LOD, and I only use auto LOD when I stream because I'm running like 15 cameras, OBS software, so I minimize my my usage by running, you know, like 100 LOD on the ground. I think actually it goes down to 75. I have it set at. So I'll run 75 on the ground, then it'll go back up to 250, 300 up in cruise. This is default handcrafted Sydney, which, to be honest with you, it's not terrible. I've had worse. I've seen worse handcrafted sceneries here. Yeah, the cockpit looks amazing at night, man. I'm actually really excited for this particular flight time because it's straight up dark, and we're gonna see the full sunrise. You know, sometimes we start in that blue hour mode. We're full on night mode here, and then we're gonna go all the way through the blue hour. We'll see the change of the cockpit. Yeah, the illumination is great. Greens says explain to me is like off juice that has been left on the counter. It's still juice, but I wouldn't consume it. Yeah, we'll see. I'm gonna test the Felis. I just love the Felis, man. The Felis is the best X-plane airplane to ever exist, and I miss it. I miss it dearly. Could watch a whole green dot video during taxi out. I know, Steven. Shoot. All right, so 3-4 left. I'll just put you back on Flight Ops menu page. I'm going to flip you over here. And I've got the controls. I'm going to put you actually on FMS2 flight plan. And I'm going to keep this one here. So we can change our takeoff to open climb. You see our brake pressure indication here? That's definitely a change from the 320 series, right? Normally we check for 0 brake pressure or 0 indication on the triple indicator. Now we actually have brake pressure. I don't see anybody on final. We are on IVEO standard, so we'll give them a call. Sydney traffic, air Garcia on 357, departing runway 34 left, be a right downwind departure over downtown Sydney traffic. Alright, lights are set. Let's go flying. Do I need to order the bracket from FSprojects? Flight Force, if you want to have your Gator mounted, then yes. Now, I don't know if they even have that bracket on their website yet, but definitely shoot them an email if you have any questions. So, they're very responsive. I didn't check to see if they have have it listed yet, though. Wingnut, dude, I agree with you, man. Cause and the thing is, so Wingnut said teaching senior citizens to fly this has got to be like giving grandmother an iPhone, dude. Well, that's so true because guess who's flying it? The most senior guys, right? So the most senior guys are probably the oldest guys. They're going to be flying the 350. I can't imagine what that initial type training is like for those instructors. All right, I'm going to flip the vertical cam over. We're on 320 cam up front. No traffic observed. We're going to continue straight out. We'll make a right downwind departure over downtown Sydney. Sounds are up. Who's ready to go flying? Nose forward on the stick. Spool 'em up 50. Yoga's in chat. A lot of new members, courtesy of Alexander Bellini with the 50 gifted sub bomb. Let's get those yogas in chat. Here we go. Spool them up. Yoga. Mantoga SRS runway auto thrust blue. 80 knots, thrust set. 100 knots. Check.
V1.
Rotate, up we go. Positive rate, gear up, flyway. Jeez. Lever climb. Flap 0. We're super light, Edinburgh Aviation. That's the thing. I tell you what we'll do. Air New Zealand 357 for cinematic viewing purposes. Level off, maintain 4,000. Vector for the scenic departure. Leveling 4,000. Speed alt star nav. There's Sydney downtown. Let's go ahead and select heading. Right turn, heading 020. Come back down. There's our altitude alert. So there's the Opera House, Sydney Harbor Bridge. Oh, that looks awesome. Should have done this with the autopilot on. Continue right turn, heading 060 now. Wow. All right, there's 4,000. We'll adjust that, make it 10 more degrees right, 070. That looks awesome. There's the Opera House. I should have leveled at like 3,000, huh? Wow, look at that with the moon in the background up there. So yeah, that's the Sydney Harbor. I'm surprised there's no lights on the Sydney Harbor Bridge. I've climbed that, did the touristy thing, right? Climbed the Sydney Harbor Bridge. I did that years ago. Very cool. Reminds me of our Australia-New Zealand tour that we did. All right, Air New Zealand 357, climb and maintain 390. All right, 390. We're gonna do a climb, not an auto derate. So let's go ahead and select climb thrust, thrust climb, open climb, up we go. Make a right turn, direct optic. All right, so we'll click on optic, direct to, insert, navin. Love that. Don't even have to do it from the box. Just click on it from the ND. Thrust climb, open climb, nav. I think it's interesting that out cruise is blue in the 350. They actually tell you what's armed. Your cruise altitude is armed in blue. All right, after takeoff checklist, that's up, flaps up. We're looking good. After takeoff checklist complete. turn on some noise canceling headphones here. Stephen, we need to bring the Starship to New Zealand. Yes. Starship New Zealand. I need to see if Iveo Standard has a Starship, if we can see Starships on Iveo Standard, do a group flight with that. I've got a secret livery for the Starship. I haven't even showed anybody yet, courtesy of Whiskey Throttle. What's the route today? We're going Sydney to Queenstown. A little bit of green dot in cruise too. Just a little bit longer flight, 900 miles or so. Hour 55 minutes. All right, here comes 10,000 feet. These are all coming off. The logo goes to auto. Auto, auto. With the seatbelt sign on. Set standard. STD set once, twice, and thrice. They're all linked up. Man, the this profile is perfect, man. The new AB9 profile that we have in the Discord, this side stick is perfect. I'm using the Neo profile, a little bit firmer center detent. Longhorns or the canards? Need to put longhorns on the canards. Man, what a beautiful departure that was. Off we go. Out over water now. Nothing much out here but water. We'll turn the weather radar on a little bit in case we see anything. RNAV into optic 390. I think the time to engage AP1. Autopilot 1 is on. All right. Queenstown is easy. Do they take 350s to Queenstown? I know they take a 7.8 to Queenstown, right? It's easy in SimWorld when you don't have to worry about anything. I think it's a lot more challenging when you're doing it in real world and you got to worry about engine out and stuff and all that terrain. Probably a little bit more challenging. Gonna rack next to the floppy disk? Yeah. Sunrise at Queenstown's 8:22. Good for the time settings? Yeah, we're good, man. It's gonna be right at sunrise, Matthew. It's gonna be right at sunrise. Because right now, sim time, it is... what is it right now, sim time? Oh, what? Is this new? What is this thing? I never noticed that before. That's like the attitude indicator, but what? Huh. A 7.8 does not land at Queenstown? Somebody said that was Queenstown 787 when we did a 7.8 flight out of there. I thought somebody said there was a Qantas 7.8 there one time. Maybe not. Yeah, someone did take a 7.4 out of there. Alright, this is going to bother me. Where's the freaking clock, man? Right there, 2023-04. Surely there's more clocks than just that one on the lower ND. Really? No? Huh. Actually kind of surprising. I love how the 350 sounds. Nice quiet cruise, amazing takeoff sounds. Yeah, it's super quiet, man. But that big growl. I love the flap sounds too. Texas Starship fuel truck equals Buc-ee's. Gotta have a Buc-ee's logo on the Starship. That's true, Matthew. Anything can land at Queenstown. Whether or not it remains usable, absolutely right. It's questionable. AFO, what's going on, man? Welcome in, dude. Welcome in, my man. Looks like I've got a little bit of weather out there. Nothing too worrying. Man, it's loud on the outside, that's for sure. I was going to try to get a cinematic turn view here. Good night. I kind of want to see it do the turn. So loud out there. So loud. Queenstown has seen a 7.5 from the New Zealand Air Force VIP flight, but 747-8s and 320s are the largest aircraft. 737-800s are the largest, and 320s. I got you, 3 greens. Into the wind, 172. What's up, man? Good to be here for a V1 stream. Yeah, it's going to be a good stream today, man. We got a little bit of green dot. Got a little 350. We got a little blue hour sunrise in our climb out. Beautiful day for flying. Bluebird 7.5 to Queenstown would be a good stream. That would be sweet. 3 greens. Yes, it would. We need to do that. And that'll be maybe a second or third stream. American Bare Metal first. American Bare Metal first, baby. Tegucigalpa. Isn't 350 same length as the 777-200? That I don't know. I wonder if what's longer, a 777-200 or a 359 or a 777-300 and a 350-1000? I mean, the 1000 350 is pretty freaking long. I don't know which one I like better, the 9 or the 1000. Toncontin, AA Bare Metal. Yes, Toncontin, that's what we're doing. Ahmad Jamal, what's up, man? It's so quiet. 98% climb thrust, man. Just listen to that. Virtual Flight Diaries dropping 10 gifted memberships. What's up, man? Thank you so much, VFD, for the 10 gifted subs. Hey, I didn't see you at Expo, right? Are you going to be at the next one, VFD? You going to be at the next Expo in Minneapolis? Thank you again for the 10 gifted subs on the channel, man. Appreciate you. Looks like Andres MT got a membership back. The A350 is 67 meters, 777 is 63 meters. The 300ER and the 350-1000 are both 74 meters. All right. Long airplanes. Are WASM crashes still prevalent? Xavier B, knock on wood, I've not had a WASM crash in the A350, man. I know a lot of people have. I also think it might have been more prevalent perhaps in 2020, but I don't want to jinx myself. I don't even want to say it, but every time we've flown this airplane, it's been flawless execution. So I don't know. Maybe it's, if you update, you want to make sure you are deleting the WASM folder, so that recompiles itself after start. Or delete the work folder, delete the work folder, update it. But we're going to knock on wood that we don't have any issues on this one. Next year's going to be our first Expo. Sweet, VFD. Can't wait, man. The A350 is the plane equivalent of an Audi S8. Man, I used to want an Audi S8. Got a lot of crash on FS 2020 with the 350. Yeah, gals, and that I've heard, seems to be every time someone says they've had a lot of stability issues. Not every time, but I feel like more often than not it's someone on 2020. And I don't know if this is true or not, but it's just my observation. I almost feel like, because I know even at Captain Canada, when he first updated on release day, there was some issues with nav data in 2020 or something, like it wasn't talking to each other right. it's my observation that I think the airplane was built for 24 and kind of optimized for 24 and then made to be compatible with 2020, and I think that might have sprung a few issues that were unanticipated. And he says 2024 doesn't run on most AMD GPUs at all. I'm rocking an AMD GPU, man. I'm running an AMD GPU, pretty much ultra settings across the board. See, yeah, and Prodigus, so yeah, so not everybody, but you've had the issues on 24, but not on 2020. I don't know, man. Software being software. Dougal McTavish, what's up, dude? Good to see you. It's been a while. I had a WASM crash in 2024 2 weeks ago after a 7-hour flight. Oh my gosh, from Heathrow to JFK, happened 19 nautical miles out of JFK, not happy. Dougal, did you have autosave? Were you able to rescue it with autosave? I've been seeing this autosave pop up here. So it's been autosaving for me. Man, Dougal, that is frustrating, man. I'm sorry to hear that. That is never, I mean, WASM crash after a 7, any crash, dude. Any crash to desktop or any crash at all after a 7-hour long haul. Gross. That reminds me of the old days on FSX, man, when I really started doing long haul flying and I'd run out of memory or get the memory error CTD on final. Nabil, have a good flight, sir. Nabil, dude, Nabil, we're gonna, I think we're watching one of your green dots today, man. We're watching one of your green dots, Nabil. Gus, did I see yesterday's news? No. No, I didn't. I'm not looking at it. Any recommendations for a PC builder? Yeah, me. Fly me out, and I'll show you how to shoot that Mark 12, and then I'll build your PC for you, man. Don't listen to AJ. Don't listen to Team Vodka. Actually, listen to Team Vodka. It's fine. He's all right. Teach him about co-altitudes. Yeah. Matter of fact, Wingnut, we just went through crossover altitude. Did you see the? Did you see this flip from IAS to Mach? I debugging some logs because I had some crash after updating the 350, and at the same time, Navigraph. I'm not sure if it was Windows 11 update. I had also caused an issue. You know what, Gal? It could have been, Windows 11 update. That's with the Windows 11 update actually caused me to had to reformat my PC because something got hung up on the update, and then my Windows was just what was it? What was it? Vodka Explorer.exe or no? What was something was just got bugged in an update, and I had to just completely redo everything. I don't like Windows 11 at all. Xavier B, welcome to Private Pilot. Thanks for joining the channel. Welcome on board, man. Glad to have you here. Do you fly in 1080 or 1440 or 4K? I fly in 1440 2K, man. I got a 2K monitor, streaming 2K. I do everything 2K. Yeah, I wish, Kate, I wish I could be on Windows 10. I do. I still don't like Windows 11. I'm getting used to it now, but nah. Why don't I ever use TrackIR? Because I don't like streaming with it. And if I did use it, I would only use it on like some approaches. But here's the thing. I haven't used it in so long that I don't even need it anymore. I actually don't even know where it is. I think it's at my house on my DCS rig. But I love TrackIR, man. I just... Streaming with TrackIR, you got to be careful with it. Because I feel like it can bother some people's eyes. It bothers my eyes when I see, like when you use Tobii eye tracker or something like that, and the heads are moving around constantly. You got to be very cognizant of it. You know, I think Captain Cannon does a good job. He unpauses it like when he's on approach and stuff. So you got to be aware of what the viewers are seeing too. And I never really felt like I needed it in civilian sim. I used it. I mean, you have to have it for DCS. It's basically a mandatory requirement for DCS. You either need an eye tracker or TrackIR or VR for DCS. People who stream with track AR and VR gives me a headache. Yeah, Steven. I kind of get that way too, man. It hurts my eyes. Do I still play DCS? I haven't in a very long time, Holden, but I'm getting very close to rebooting up and doing some DCS flying with Mr. Full Flap Sim. CST gaming, yeah, like you can't watch VR streams. That's, yeah, VR, track IR and Tobii eye tracker are one thing because I feel like it's, as long as they're not moving around too much, it's still not bad. But a VR stream is, for me personally, I can't watch them. I can't watch VR streams, not because of if the quality or anything like that, but just because of the motion. I don't know. I don't like it. But some people can. Some people have no problem with it, but just the way my eyes see things. If you do DCS and you and Wingnut could fly in next year in the war camp, yeah, Tutco, yeah, absolutely. You're trying to learn DCS, Craig? Pack your patience, because it's very unforgiving and it's a whole lot to learn, man. But it's also very fun, and we got 2,000 more feet to go here, then we'll change our views. I still think it's the undisputed flight model sim available. I don't think there's any sim out there that is has better flight modeling characteristics than DCS. BKG Blueface, thank you for the 2 years of support, the 2-year badge. We need a podcast soon. I'm on my 4th season of V1 podcast doing commercial pest control of bars and restaurants downtown Nashville. BKG, thanks for the 2 years of support, man. There has been some discussion about podcast, and there has been some development about podcast, and I've got an idea, and I'm going to be... you'll probably be hearing about it soon. TM. For real this time. Ask Wingnut, for real. DCAs can make you a millionaire if you're a billionaire. Very true, Bills Mafia. Favorite DCS aircraft? The Huey and the F-14 Tomcat. Even though the Huey is so old and clapped out, I actually got DCS. That was my first DCS module, was the UH-1 Huey. I'm a Huey fanatic. I love the Huey, man. Typhoon when? Yeah. I also like the F-16 a lot. I do like the F-16. Apache's great too. We did some Apache streams on this channel. Live. I was flying with my wingman Bert, or not even wingman, he was the CPG. We did some streams in the Apache. I had a feeling AJ was going to pipe up about that. Podcasts? We're only at flight level 390. I know. I appreciate the support, AJ. Thanks for the $3 super chat. Listen, there's something coming. There's something coming, I promise. Thank you, AJ. Appreciate the $3 super chat. Let me know where we're going for 50K, and I'll make new music. Jeremy, we're going to do Euro Tour V2. So, totally up to you, man, if you want to make a revamped Euro Tour theme song. I really love the one that we have. But it's going to be Europe V2. We're going to go to a bunch of different areas that we didn't go to before. There's a couple of real popular ones, that I haven't been to since the last Euro Tour. So it's going to be Europe version 2 at 50K subs. I need to get you the F-86. So, Luke, the F-86 was my first fixed-wing aircraft in DCS. I flew the Sabre. I flew the wings off that Sabre, dude. I had that airplane mastered. Toss bombing, all that stuff, man. I used to love flying the F-86. That was my first fixed-wing bird in DCS. Did you watch the UAP sighting? No. Is that a new one? I have not seen that. CST, I tried the AB9, not impressed, need your settings. Yes, here's the thing, CST, where did you try the AB9 at? Where'd you try it at? And if you didn't have my settings, it's completely off. I actually said this. I said that because there was an AB9 base at Expo in the Scalarchy booth. Well, there was a couple of different ones out there, but the Scalarchy AB9 that they had set up was terrible, absolutely terrible. You have to get the right profile. You got to do work on the profile and the software side of things. If you want to fly Airbus, we've got 2 profiles pinned in the Discord for the Moza AB9 base, and I've got kind of an older Airbus side stick feel, and then I've got like what the brand new Neos feel like, and there is actually a difference. I've been paying particular attention to the side stick and how it feels in the real airplane and comparing it to what we can configure with the Moza. Now, the older airplanes, the ones that have a slightly different disconnect button here that's not really well guarded, there was a softer feeling to them. I swear, I don't know why that is, but they're softer. And then the new airplanes that come out, they have a little bit firmer center feeling around the center point, and they just feel a little bit more, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it other than I know there's a difference, and I think we've captured it pretty well with the Moza AB9 profiles that we have in the Discord. So make sure you try those out, because it will completely transform how you think the Moza can work. Oh man, sunrise. A sunrise bank angle check. We're gonna do our green dot here, but I want to kind of watch the sunrise for a minute. Have I ever tried a VKB gunfighter? Yes, I have 2 of them. Windring Orion 2, I have. What's your opinion on them? I like the VKB the most. The Windwing Orion 2, I tried that briefly at my buddy's house, and that's, if I'm not mistaken, the Orion 2, that's very similar to the gunfighter, right, where you can adjust the springs and the cams. I thought they were very similar. I just, when I tried the Orion 2, I didn't like the way it was set up, so I think that might be configurable. But the VKB is great. I still have the VKB. I actually had that. That was my dedicated Huey cyclic for a while. That with the extension and everything. But VKB gunfighter is good. I made an in-depth video on all those bases a while ago, but now this is the problem is right now in 2025, if you're going to invest in a side stick base, I would highly consider trying to get some type of force feedback base, whether you go Moza, whether you go Windwing, right? Because Windwing has the new side stick bases coming out, right? I think there's another one out there as well. I can't think of the name of it. But the reason that I say that you should really consider a force feedback base is because of how configurable it is. One base, and you can fly a whole variety of aircraft, and you can customize it for anything. You can make it fly like a helicopter with just auto centering, force trim reset, all that. You can make it. You can turn it into an F-16 stick with very little movement and just pressure sensing, essentially. So, because of the configuration of a force feedback base and how you can make it work with a bunch of different airplanes, if I was in the market for a side stick right now, I would look at a force feedback base. Now, if I couldn't afford, if that was not on the budget, if force feedback is not on your budget, the next best option is something that has customizable cams and springs, like the what we were just talking about, the Gunfighter Series VKB, Verpal. Windwing has some, right? I believe with the cams that you can adjust out. You can adjust the center cam, how much centering force it has, friction. That would be my number 2 suggestion. The physical size of the AB9 base is why I haven't got in on one yet. Just don't have the physical space for it. Flight Sim's cool. Yeah, it is a massive base. Now, they have the AB6 that I saw them announce at Expo, right? The AB6, much smaller, half the force. So I didn't mess with that one at all. But if space is a concern, that may be an option. I don't know what the price is of the AB6 either. It is AB6, right? I think it is AB6. How many guys can be on a team in DCS? Can we create a V1 squad? Simrig412, what's up, man? Force feedback is the way to go. I love my Moza AB9 and Moza AY210 yoke. Nice. I flew the Moza yoke at FS Expo. I think it's a profile thing. I wasn't completely in love with what I felt at FS Expo with the Moza yoke. But here's one thing you have to remember when you talk anything force feedback. The software is what's going to separate a specific yoke from another yoke. It's going to make it better than the competitor if the software is better, because that's where you're going to be able to configure all those niche settings, you know, the drag or the force with airspeed as it increases, or the vibrations, being able to customize the different ground roll vibrations, etc. So you've got to make sure that whatever force feedback base you go with, that the software is up to snuff. Now, I will say this, as far as the yoke software for Moza, I'm not familiar with it. I don't have a force feedback Moza yoke. I don't know how in-depth it is. I do have the AB9, obviously, and if it's similar to the AB9, what I can configure with the AB9 stick has dramatically improved over the course of months, several months, and actually, I think it's been a year. I don't know if it's been a year already how long I've had the AB9 base, but the way that the software's been improving is a huge plus for Moza. I would love to see it continue to improve. My Bruner, on the other hand, for my actual yoke that I use, it uses CLS to sim software, extremely powerful, extremely customizable, but it's also not very user-friendly. And it causes issues sometimes with the sim. You have to disconnect, restart it, reboot it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. But it is very powerful software, CLS. So I can do, I'm pretty sure I can still do a few things in CLS that I haven't seen on the Moza software yet, at least for the yoke, for the side stick thing. Chaos says, I'd be surprised if they change the software for the yoke. Yeah, I don't think they have, Chaos, because even in my Moza AB9 software, I can see, let me launch it here. I can see the option for the yoke. I just don't know if they have, you know, the same sub-settings if you were to select the yoke. If I can boot it up here. I don't know why it's not popping up. Might take a minute. Alright, get the map on. Let me get a couple things out of the way here. Alright, we're right over the Tasman Sea. Moza software. Let me show y'all something here. Let's go to add a source. Alright, so here is kind of blocking our sunrise. Let me shrink it down a little bit. So this is the Moza AB9 software, so I'm pretty sure if I don't know why I don't have a yoke option. That's the only thing I don't know, Chaos, if maybe it would pop up if you had it. But if you go to expert settings, I mean, we're definitely getting there with all kinds of additional settings, dynamic force feedback, telemetry effects. So now for my specific profiles that we have for the Airbus, all of this stuff is turned off, right? You have access travel, the special tab, hardware trim mode, which I have turned off right now for this particular profile. But when the A220 comes out, right, and we're going to be needing to trim, and if you're going to want the FSprojects side stick with the trim hat, so you can have the actual Airbus side stick with a proper trim switch, we're going to start messing with that and trim follow and all of those things. But when this first released, when Moza first released, this is pretty much all we had right here. So, and obviously it was pre-release. They were kind enough to send me a copy early on, but they have been significantly improving the software, you know, every single update. So that is what's promising to me of Moza over CLS. CLS to Sim kind of seems like it's targeting a very specific audience, such as the cockpit builders, flight schools, you know, and they're trying to set their yokes up for GA airplanes specifically. Not that it's only for GA, but it just kind of seems like it's tailored that way. Moza is definitely much more focused on bringing a better experience to the average flight simmer that uses Microsoft Flight Sim or X-Plane or whatever it is that you use. So this is where you would select different grips. For those of you that are unfamiliar with the FSprojects, I just keep it on the MH16 side stick right here. They got throttles, all this stuff here. I don't have any of this stuff. And this is where you would select your stuff. So I've got everything configured, connected. X-Plane 12 has not been configured. I got a couple other default games you can set up here. FSX, I don't know what that is, some space game. IL2, I don't have any of that stuff on this PC. So, but that's the look at the Moza side stick. And I know there was a lot of talk at, you can see here in the promo, a lot of talk at Expo about why doesn't Moza make a left-handed side stick for the Airbus. I don't know. It's very puzzling to me that they decided to make a right-handed side stick, but that just means you can now look at getting the high quality like 1-to-1 replica Airbus from FSprojects with the hat switch on it. So that is a little spiel about that. Now we're gonna get ready to do our green dot here pretty soon. But man, that just looks so good out there. Oh my goodness, outside view is too loud. FSS 727 or iniI350. Oh my gosh, PAX 003. That is such a polarizing question, man. I can't help you there. Whichever one that you want to fly more. Which green dot are we covering? We're covering a Verge and Atlantic, I believe. No, not the new one. We're going to save that for a 727 flight. So real quick, I wanted to show you guys. I don't know if you saw in the other video I did, the shorts video. So the changes here on the V2. If you notice, this V1 is pretty much flat. The V2 has those kind of like finger guides on the back side, but they're not over exaggerated like I've seen before. They're I swear it's just like the real airplane. The grip itself, the button is just a little bit different on the V2 now, which is nice. It's kind of guarded, just like it is in the real airplane. So if you don't kick it with your foot, now I've put my leg up and I've actually disconnected the autopilot in cruise before, but that's why it's kind of recessed from the side, but from the back side here where your thumb is, it's a real easy disconnect. So I was very particular when I was looking for Airbus side sticks because I took the better part of a year trying all kinds of different options, trying to get the perfect A320 side stick setup. And then I found FSprojects, and there's nothing that competes with their quality. I mean, every side stick they release is perfection. So their link will be pinned at the top, and then of course you can check them out in the description. I'm gonna probably make a separate little video that I kind of expand upon on the shorts, where I can really show you the difference between the V1 and V2. There's still nothing wrong with my V1. I love it. It works flawlessly. I've had it since I think 2019, so we're coming up on 6 years, and it's been absolutely flawless. So another thing that they kind of changed, I feel like this screw part here on the V2, I don't know if the threads are deeper, maybe not, maybe this one is just used more, but it mounts perfectly to the Moza base. How can every side stick be perfection if they have a V2 now? Well, the V2, they changed perfection, meaning like the paint quality and everything like that. I mean, there is not a scuff on it. If there's a single imperfection in the paint or anything, they won't sell it, or they'll offer it at a slightly discounted price. But also, the V2 has the hat switch option. The V1 doesn't have a hat switch option. But yeah, build quality perfection. Build quality perfection, chaos. Yes. But yeah, 12509. You said your V1 doesn't mount as good as it should. Yeah, it mounts fine. You just really have to crank it down, and every now and then, like if you have the force feedback turned way up on the Moza, sometimes it just doesn't feel like it's seated. It's seated all the way, but it doesn't have that perfect fit feeling. The V2 definitely has the perfect fit feeling. It slides right on there. That end cap screws in perfectly all the way down, and it locks it in steady. It fits like a glove. So, can confirm V1 did not have an option to take off the hat. Are you going to get the FX Citation 10, do a video on it? Of course, Big D. I was really hoping it was. I guess I'm not. I tried to send them a message a while back about getting early access to it, but I think they got it all on lockdown. But I was looking very much forward to picking it up this week, right? It's supposed to be out like today or tomorrow. But now they delayed it to when? End of the month? Something like that. So. But I will definitely be checking that one out. All right. Any other questions with Moza and FS projects? Again, I talked about this was a popular request as well for mounting the gator, the rubber gator right here, to the base. What I love about this snap-on cover is it's exactly that. It's a snap-on. This will snap on top of your Moza, and then it allows you to mount the edge of that rubber gator right around these lips here, and it locks it in perfect spot. Now, because I change sticks sometimes for different content, different stuff that I'm filming for the channel, I may leave mine off for the time being, but then once I'm done with that, I'm going to just snap this back on. A thing to note about this: if you're using the default Moza base, or excuse me, the default Moza. What is it? The Moza desk mount. It's not the perfect option because it still sits a hair too high. I think the best option for mounting the AB9 base is to get a third-party mount like an MFG mount or something where you can really customize the height, because that base is so tall. This is on the lowest setting possible on the Moza desk mount, and it's still a little bit higher than I would like. Now, of course, if you know desks are different height, that's going to play a role on it as well. But I wish I could get it lower. But also, the way it mounts to the front, if you have it screwed in there real tight right now, like you should, your snap-on cover won't fit. You have to actually back the screws off a little bit, then put the cover on, and then screw it back in. If you're using the default desk mount. But I may look into getting an MFG mount for the AB9 base, because I really would like to drop it another, I don't know, maybe 2, maybe even 3 inches. So I can't get the base to sit low enough. It still sits pretty high for me. But yeah, that is the latest from Flight Sim Projects. A huge shout out to Francesco and all the folks over there. They took a chance on me. They were the first hardware developing company that took a shot with me. I was sending everybody messages. It's like, hey, I'm looking to make, to set up an Airbus dedicated cockpit. What, you think I'm a streamer? Can I show your product off or whatever? And we're like, no. FS Projects was like, yeah, we'll send you a side stick. Let us know what you think. And when I got it, I was just blown away. It was better than anything I tried. So shout out to them. Probably the longest standing hardware partnership I've had with the channel. So love those guys. And they're Italian too. So we're going to have to go visit Italy when we do our Euro tour. If only going to buy one force feedback control, would it be viable to fly something like the 7.3 with AB9 stick? Yes, absolutely. Crazy sarcasm. Now, Mickey G's not here, but he's a real 707, or, well, he was flying the 707. Now he's flying some other stuff, but he was flying the 707. He bought the Moza yoke, the AB9, rather. Was it? He bought the yoke. It's disregard, never mind. But yes, you could still set up your side stick to fly like a conventional 737 yoke would, with, trim following, getting the vibrations from roll spoilers, etc. like that. So if you're gonna fly a yoke-driven aircraft with a side stick, you might as well fly it with a force feedback side stick. It's even better than flying it with the standard spring side stick. For years, before yokes were real popular, before I got my first CH yoke, I was flying everything with a not a force feedback, but just a regular spring Thrustmaster. I don't remember what it was. Sidewinder. No, the Sidewinder was my first force feedback one back in the day. But whatever it was, Throttletek X52. But yeah, absolutely, you can configure it. I've flown the gosh, what were we flying in career mode? The PC-12. So I was flying the PC-12 with the side stick on my home setup in career mode and the PC-24, and it's great, man. You set the trim. I mean, you're not using a yoke, but you can absolutely configure it. CH products, blast from the past, right, Eric? Blast from the past. Do I have a profile for the Brunner stick, Maximilian? I do not. I think I do on my home PC, Maximilian, because I was using I do have the Brunner side stick as well. I'll have to look on my home PC. Check that out, man. And post that. Ruben, what's up, man? Good to see you, dude. If you could fly any plane in real life, what would you fly? 727 or L1011. Or if it's modern day, A340 600 domestic turns only. All right. Let's, now that we've seen the sunrise, let's get everything up here. Let's get configured for some green dots. All right, looking good. We got plenty of time. We're cruising along here at 8.5 Mach, doing 578 over the ground. Tis a beautiful day, chat. Tis a beautiful day. All right, what I'll tell you what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the lav, and then we're going to do our in-flight entertainment. L1011 mentioned? Yes, I miss it. Michael, thank you for the 3 months of support. How the A350 flies compared to the Fenix? Completely different. It's a 350. It's much larger aircraft, much more responsive, which is true to real life, apparently. I've never flown the 350, but it does hand fly different. It does feel different in the sim. And from what I've been told, it's pretty accurate. So your ETA is 10 minutes behind me, and I'm going to do some shenanigans on arrival. All right, sounds good, Vodka. You're the leader. Did I see the Bluebird 7.5 review from Navigraph? The Bluebird 757 review from Navigraph? No, I didn't. No, I'm not virtually not pilot. What's where's that snap for the base gator purchasable? Frafty, somebody said it's not on their website yet, but if you shoot them an email, I'm sure they will be able to accommodate you. It's something. It's very new. I think they wanted to test it out first, and I'm pretty sure they'll have it for sale very soon. I guess it's not listed right now, but shoot them an email. Let them know that you saw the snap base for on my stream or whatever, and they'll probably be able to hook you up. Yeah, Maximilian, the CLS to sim profiles for the Brunner stuff, a lot of them are super outdated and not awesome. So, all right, like I said, it's time to do green dot, and before we do that, we're going to take a quick lav break, stretch our legs. I'm going to turn the sim sounds down because I'm going to put you on the outside view here. Oh, look at that. All right, I shall be right back, and then we're going to do green.ife. We ready. Hold on real quick. Landing is not imminent. IFE is imminent. IFE is imminent, Gus. Get this set up here. Oh, no, no, no. A lot of people wondering where we're going, so we're going to put that up in the pinned message comment. What's up with the clouds? What's up with the clouds? They look good to me. Well, some of them out there on distance look a little low res. Little FSX clouds poofing in, right? The little mini poofies. Yeah. All right, so for our green dot, here's the problem. I have the no cabin version going on right now because I loaded in and I had all my bindings set for the no cabin, and with sim update 2 stable, I did not want to sit there and bind for the next 15 minutes trying to bind my profiles. So we're gonna stick with this. We do need more likes. I'm crazy. We only have 100 and something likes. You guys are light on the likes. All right, let me get that's up. And that's up. Sim sounds are down. All right. Let me change cabin view. Let's do this. I gotta put it in a different spot somewhere. Or we could watch it on the jump seat. I guess we'll just do... I'm trying to find a good spot for the TV screen. There's really no good spot. I don't want to move... Let's see if I can move both of them here. If we do that, and then we go to this wing view... There we go. I can deal with that. Jump seat life? You know what? That could be kind of funny. Let's see. I've never tried it. Hold on. I'm going to sit over here. Where are we going to put it, though? On this monitor? We put it on that monitor? Or, I don't know. You know what's funny is we could put it... Hold on, chat. Hold on. The problem is it's going to be so small. I was going to put it on the side panel right here. But I don't want to shrink it, because then you won't be able to see it. Let's go over here. There we go. So we can see out this window here. We're just cruising. All right. Captain McGee says Sim Update 3 has been pretty stable. Just saying that. I'm not sure if anyone has held issues. I've heard both, man. I've heard both. So I'm just hanging tight on Sim Update 2. That's exactly what the screen is for. Perfect, Operator Dirt. Perfect. All right, we're getting into the green dot I've not seen before. This is Virgin Flight 024. Again, make sure you shout out Mr. Green Dot Aviation. Let him know you saw the video here and you appreciate him being able to share this stuff. I believe this is an edit from ours truly, Nabil Hamdoui, as well. So let's go ahead and fire it up. Captain Simp, what's up, man? How you doing, buddy? Let's do an audio check. Oh, this one's not you, Nabil? Alright. I was going to say, this looks got Nabil vibes. It is you. Awesome. Alright, good. Oh, yeah, listen to this. Shh, 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 shh. Get the popcorn out. Mayday, mayday, mayday. Thompson, Thompson. Dude, Nabil coming in with the edits. Uh-oh, landing gear stuck. What? How'd you get that footage? Version 2.4. All right. Ooh, I get chills. I love these. I love these. All right. Well, it looks like he landed with the gear up. Spoiler alert.
It was 7:30 on the evening of November 5th, 1997, when the crew of a Virgin Atlantic Airbus A340 reported for duty at Los Angeles International Airport. Around the same time, 98 passengers were arriving
That's a
at the
nice
airport
340
and
model.
checking in their bags for the long journey to London Heathrow. The aircraft they were flying on was a 4-year-old Airbus A340-300.
Only
The
4 years
A340
old?
was a modern aircraft with an excellent safety record.
The green dot volume up a bit? Yeah, of course. I'm actually going to turn down the airplane just a tad, too.
Operating as Flight 24,
How about that?
this aircraft would fly through the night, across the North American continent, and out over the Atlantic Ocean before touching down in the UK the next afternoon.
LA to Heathrow,
The
that's
flight
a
was
long
scheduled
one.
to take about 10.5 hours.
Gross.
Up in the cockpit of the 4-engined aircraft were 3 flight crew members.
Dude, what cockpit
Sitting
is
in
this?
the left-hand seat was 40-year-old Captain Tim Barnby. Barnby was an experienced pilot with more than 14,000 flying hours, just short of 3,000 of which were on the Airbus A340.
All right, I like to break these down. 40-year-old male from the UK, 340, Boeing 707. Tell me you're a bad A without telling me you're a bad A. 707 flew the shorts, Belfast, HPR. 14,000 hours of flight time. Dude is very experienced. Almost 3,000 on the 340. Very cool, very cool.
As it would turn out, he would need to draw on every one of these hours as the flight neared Heathrow. Joining him in the cockpit was 32-year-old First Officer Andrew Morley. Morley was new to the A340, with just 301 hours on the jet. However, he had over 4,500 hours on the Airbus A320.
All right, so what has he been flying? 32-year-old male. He's 340, 320, Fokker 100. Very nice. Fokker 100 type rating. What's the HPR? High performance rating? Is that like a UK thing? 4,600 total time, 300 hours. So he's got some time. He just doesn't. He's pretty low. 300 hours on the 340. So he's probably got what? I don't know what the average flight block hours a month are for Europe Airlines. I mean, in the U.S., you're going to average about 70 hours block a month. So 7, 14, 21, 28, 5, so 6 months or so. I mean, maybe he's less than a year on the airplane, 6 months or so.
And Fokker 100, meaning he was by no means an inexperienced pilot.
Yeah, 10
Sitting
hour.
behind the two
Well, that's true, Steven. 10-hour flights, 30 flights at that rate. So you do, that's about right still.
operating pilots was a relief pilot, 28-year-old First Officer Craig Matheson. Matheson would take over from each of the pilots in turn during a portion of the cruise. This would allow them to get some rest so that they would be fresh for the arrival into London.
And Craig Matheson's position is going to be eliminated by single pilot operations. How you doing? They're going to remove the relief pilot in the future. I'm sure that's what's going to come first. But anyway, less time, 289. Probably, I mean, 289, the guy had 300, so I wonder if they're in the same class.
Like First Officer Morley, Matheson was new to the A340, with just under 300 hours on the aircraft. However, he had over 4,500 total hours of flying time.
Oh, wow, but he's got
As the
7576
13
type,
cabin
too.
crew members helped the passengers settle into their seats,
Cessna
the baggage was
310
loaded,
rating?
and the pilots completed the
Did it
last
say
of the
that,
pre-departure
Team Vodka?
checks.
Wow.
The aircraft was loaded with 73 metric tons of fuel for the long journey east. As soon as the final checks were complete, the cabin crew closed the doors and Flight 24 was ready to go. Just before 9 o'clock that night, slightly behind schedule, the aircraft was pushed back from the gate at Los Angeles. The pilots started the plane's 4 engines and began taxiing out to runway 24 left. Their
Man,
departure
Phoenix
route would take them
A340
out
win.
over the Pacific Ocean initially, and then northeast towards the UK. The first officer was flying the aircraft on this night, while the captain handled the radios and did the paperwork. All appeared normal as the plane taxied out. After a short taxi, the first officer lined up on the runway and set takeoff thrust. Within moments, the plane was airborne, and the captain raised the landing gear. But unbeknownst to him, this routine action of raising the landing gear had set in motion a chain of events which would change the course of Flight 24 dramatically. As the left main gear retracted into its
Oh
bay,
yeah, I forgot
a
about
torque
that.
pin-
The Tolless A340 and Aerosoft. I hope that's good. I mean, a 340 from Aerosoft visuals and then a Tolless systems. Hey, that's got me excited.
came loose.
Torque pin came loose on
This pin
retraction.
then tumbled all the way down.
What is it, a
landing
gear
on the
retraction
shoreline
pin?
just
Somebody
outside
left
the
the pin
airport
in?
perimeter.
Somebody
In
left
the
the gear
cockpit,
pins in?
The pilots had no way of knowing that this had just happened.
Wait,
All they
wait.
noticed was that the landing gear took a bit longer than usual to retract.
Wait. I gotta read that again. Did somebody leave a gear pin in? Aren't you supposed to verify pins and covers?
Main
It's like
gear
the-
retracted
on the
into its
checklist,
bay.
right?
A torque pin came
A
loose.
torque pin.
This pin then tumbled all the way down, landing on the shoreline just outside
I'm not
the
sure what a
airport
torque
perimeter.
pin is.
In the cockpit, the pilots had no way of knowing that this had just happened. All they noticed was that the landing gear took a bit longer than usual to retract. They had no idea that not all of their A340 would be accompanying them to London. Blissfully unaware, the first officer engaged the autopilot, and the aircraft began turning northeast. The pilots and passengers alike were treated to an incredible
mean,
view
that-
of the
that
sprawling lights of Los
VFRs.
Angeles as their plane climbed out over the Pacific Ocean.
Latin VFR is hitting hard here.
The A340 is a highly advanced aircraft with sensors located all around it, sending a constant stream of data
I
to
love
the
the
plane's
A340,
computers.
man.
Not too dissimilar to how you send out mountains of data whenever you do anything online. And that's where this video's sponsor,
Incogni.
comes in. Unlike the case for
All right, well, we'll listen to the Incogni thing here. We'll let him play it out. So, yeah, I'm not sure what a torque pin is, because if it was a gear pin, I wouldn't think it would retract United Pilot, but I don't know. I've never tested it, so I don't know. By the sound of it being a torque pin, I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to see at the end. Ask Stephen Hayner. He is nerd the subject of torque pins or something. Yeah. Well, what's the purpose of a torque pin? Beef says they added custom avionics, but it's still very subpar. I'm sorry, that's not good then. Selling data and tracking people. That's him. All right. A shear pin if you over torque the joint. Oh, okay. A shear pin. All right. That makes sense. So it wasn't a landing gear pin to keep the gear from retracting on the ground. I thought that's what it might have been. All right, here we go.
video.
Protect
you can
yourself.
get an individual plan for yourself, or you can protect your whole family with a family and friends
I thought it
plan,
was over.
which covers up to 4 people. Make sure to use my code GREENDOT to get 60% off your purchase. What's more, Incogni are confident enough that you'll like their service that if you change your mind within the first 30 days, you'll get a full refund. So click on that link in the video description and pinned comment and use my code GREENDOT. But for now, back to the video.
Back to the video. Here we go.
Before long, Flight 24 had reached its initial cruising altitude. With 13 cabin crew members attending to just 98 passengers, the meal service went by quickly. Once it was finished, many of the passengers tried to get some sleep. When they landed in Heathrow, it would be bright in the afternoon of the next day. But just as the passengers settled in, up in the cockpit, an unusual indication had caught the pilot's attention. While carrying out a routine review of the aircraft systems, the pilots had discovered something odd. The brake temperature sensor for the inner rear wheel of the left main gear displayed 2 crosses, meaning
I've actually had that exact same indication before in a narrow body.
no signal. The A340 is a highly sophisticated aircraft with banks of computers monitoring inputs from hundreds of sensors around the plane. One faulty sensor, especially a single brake temperature sensor, wasn't too much cause for concern. But the pilots didn't know that this time, this odd reading had a much more serious cause. one which wouldn't make itself fully known to them until they were just moments from landing.
That's the best time to figure out something's wrong.
For the next few hours, the plane cruised peacefully eastwards, all while the Terminator line, the line separating night from day, moved westwards towards it. By the time the plane had reached the Atlantic Ocean, the first glimmerings of sunrise were appearing on the horizon.
Man.
It was a stunning sight for any passengers still awake.
Yeah, if you're still awake. I just can't. I am just not built for long haul, man. That sounds awful.
And for the pilots, it was the calm before a storm they would soon unwittingly
That's
enter.
a sweet shot, though, right there. That looks amazing.
Almost 10 hours after leaving Los Angeles, Flight 24 had begun its descent towards London's Heathrow Airport. First Officer Morley was back at the controls after his rest, with Captain Barnby to his left and Relief Pilot Matheson behind them. The weather that afternoon was good, with winds from the south, some clouds, and great visibility. Air traffic control had told the crew to expect runway 27 left for landing. In just a few minutes, the flight would be making its final approach.
I wonder what month was this? 10 hours from LA to Heathrow? They must have had a pretty good tailwind, right? I thought it'd be longer than that. They must have been going pretty fast.
Just after 3 p.m., the first officer lined up with runway 27 right.
Gosh, look
Heathrow.
at that.
The flaps were set.
I'm getting
speed
excited
belts
for
were
the
in
Euro
position,
tour. I'm getting
and
excited.
the airspeed was coming back nicely. The final step now was to lower the gear. But just 8 miles from the runway, when the captain lowered the landing gear
Wait.
lever, something strange happened.
I'll tell you something strange here with Aerosoft. Look at the triple indicators indicating pressure with the gear up in flight. That should be 0.
But just 8 miles from the runway, when the captain lowered the landing gear lever, something strange happened. The right main landing gear and the nose gear extended and locked into place as normal, but the left main gear appeared not to have moved. The plane's computer sent out a gear unsafe warning, and more related warnings appeared on the ECAM, the pilot's central display.
Oh, man.
There was no way the pilots could land in this condition. If they did, the aircraft could go careening off the side of the runway, possibly breaking apart, or even worse, crashing into the passenger terminal buildings.
Yeah, that would definitely be worse.
However, sometimes it takes a bit longer than normal for the gear to extend. There was a chance that the problem would right itself before they reached the ground. So they continued the approach.
Question for the professionals in chat. So I know on the 330 when we fly it in the sim, everything happens a lot slower, right? Gear retraction, extension, flaps, the seam, everything happens much slower. Is that true the same for the 340? Because the 350 seems pretty quick, the 320 series is all pretty quick, but the 330 that we have from iniBuilds, the default airplanes, everything just seems to take forever in that airplane. But I wonder if the same characteristics are true to the 340.
Keeping a close eye on the gear indications.
Felix Dowski, figured to let you know it's green yet? Yeah, I know. I didn't figure out how to get it on the vertical cam there, man. Sorry about that. I'll have to edit that for the next long haul flight. I'll find a way to get an in-flight entertainment video to the vertical cam. Yeah, it's just audio now, unfortunately.
As they got closer to the runway, it became clear that the gear was not going to extend. As they descended through 1,400 feet, the first officer raised the landing gear, and shortly after, put the plane into a climb.
So first step, go
The
around.
captain informed the tower controller that the flight was carrying out a missed approach. Initially, the pilots figured that the gear may have just been slow to extend. Now that they were carrying out a missed approach, they would have more than enough time to get it down. But
All right, pretty standard. Good call. Go around, get somewhere where you can troubleshoot. Maybe get put in a hold, especially Heathrow, busy airspace, right? You don't want to just be flying around in everybody's way. So get out, missed approach. They'll put you in a box pattern or hold, and then you can troubleshoot. Pretty standard. No reason to panic. No reason to have any concern. A couple things before we play forward. You could think of what are some other ways we can extend the landing gear, right? We can use the manual gear extension. You could also lower the gear even with the unsafe flight, and then you could request a flyby to see if it's actually not down. Maybe it's a sensor, an indication like that, right? So you can request a low pass. There's a couple things you can do, but I'm sure they probably have alternate fuel for this as well, right? I'm sure they got plenty of gas. I don't actually know what their fuel state is.
as soon as they raised the gear, they got another unwelcome message. The left landing gear hadn't locked up into place. In other words, it was neither up nor down. It appeared to be stuck somewhere in the middle. Not the best place for landing gear. The captain informed air traffic control of the situation, and the pilots were given radar vectors to the Bovingdon radio beacon. they began climbing to 8,000 feet.
Wind wing.
At Bovington,
I could tell 'cause
they
the
would
colors
enter
are
a
wrong.
holding pattern, giving them time to troubleshoot the issue. The first thing the pilots tried was the gravity gear extension procedure. They slowed to between 190 and 200 knots, lowered the landing gear lever, and then used the gravity gear extension handle. This releases all of the hydraulic pressure, letting the gear extend and lock into place by gravity alone.
So that's pretty cool. The 340 then has a lever that you pull out. The 320 series, you've seen me do it on stream. We've got that knob that you flip out. You rotate it 3 separate times, once to release the up locks, twice to release the pressure, and 3 to drive it down. So, or 3 or 4 times. I can't remember how many turns it is. I got to remember. We're going to be doing some hardcore Fenix streams here very soon because we got Recurrent next month. But the 340 looks much easier. You just pull the handle out.
If there was a hydraulic problem with the left main gear, this should get around it. They waited and watched the indications closely.
Winger says, why move the gear up or down with a gear issue? Wouldn't you go around not touch anything? No, I would do the same thing. I'd retract it, right? If at first you don't succeed, go around and try again, right? Cycle it. Same thing with flaps, right? If you get a flap lock, or not a flap lock, but yeah, a flap problem, the FCOM actually states to continue to try and deploy the next step of flaps so you could see if you can get more flap or more slat instead of whatever, just leaving it where you're stuck at. But yeah, I would have done the same thing with the gear. I mean, you just have an unsafe indication. You don't know exactly what that is. You don't know if it's just a sensor not down or something benign. But I wouldn't see any reason to keep it down. Now, what you could do is instead of going around mist and bringing the gear up right away, but this is, heat of the moment. I don't know if you'd think of it, but you could just say, hey, can we do a low pass as we're going around, and maybe you guys take a look at the gear as we fly by, and then we'll continue with the go around because we're showing an unsafe flight. Like, hey, we're going to cancel the landing and just go straight down the runway and have the tower inspect it with the binoculars. But you're coming in off a long haul. You put the gear down, get ready to go home. I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the forefront of your thought process there. But I can't say I would have done anything different than go around and bring the gear back up.
But, to their surprise, this had no effect. The other gear had lowered as normal, but the left gear still appeared to be stuck.
Now the doors are stuck.
Whatever the problem was, it couldn't be solved by their normal procedures.
What is going on, chat? Oh, sorry, hold on. It's my other phone going off. All right, sorry about that. Nope, sim update
Luckily
2.
for the crew, they had encountered this issue just a few miles from the Virgin Atlantic Operations Department
Ooh.
at Heathrow Airport. This meant that, as they held at Bovington to the north of the airport, they were well within radio range of the people who were perhaps best able to give them expert advice. The captain contacted operations over the radio and informed them of the flight's predicament.
That's the place to have an issue right there, right over the HQ. You can talk to operations, talk to maintenance control. If you're going to have a problem, that's the spot to have it right there. JJ Stevens, thank you for the $10 super chat, man. Appreciate you. Next Superman movie, Superman saves the flight by manually extending each landing gear, flying under the plane, but the nose wheel breaks off, so he ends up being the nose wheel landing safely. I didn't realize that. Is that really in the Superman movie? That's something. That's a good thought, though, for the next one, JJ. Thanks for the $10 super chat. Appreciate you, man. Maybe that's V1's BFU alert now. That's the ringtone you have for your fiance? Oof. I'll pray for you. That's a cool idea, JJ. I like it.
On the other end of the line were maintenance engineers and the chief pilot and A340 fleet manager. If they couldn't help the captain, he would be pretty much out of luck. The engineers suggested pulling and resetting some circuit breakers associated with the landing gear in case there was an electrical issue.
Must be the Fenix overhead.
The pilots tried this, and then tried lowering the gear again. They watched their instruments, eagerly awaiting the extension of the left main gear. But again,
negative.
It did nothing. Then, the engineer suggested the old classic technique of raising the gear handle lever and then lowering it again. And then, lowering the gear by gravity extension.
Again, yeah, basically doing everything again, trying to just get it to force its way down. So, yeah, you definitely would want to try Wingnut. Like if you just kept it in the unsafe position and then you came back around and landed, and then they realized it. What if it was just, a simple recycle would have fixed the problem? You're always going to try to troubleshoot. At least I would. I don't know if you guys have different SOPs, but you try turning it on and off again. That's the classic mechanic suggestion, Steven. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
But no matter what the pilots did, they couldn't seem to get the gear to extend.
I feel like you'd be able to hear that buffeting. Yeah, I feel like you would, well, I don't know, because you got the other gear down, so that's going to be creating some noise as well. I'm not sure. But this is a cool shot. I wonder how Nabil got this here. This is pretty cool. That looks pretty realistic. Kubing, what's up, man? I see you over there on the vertical chat. Unfortunately, I don't have my in-flight movie playing on the vertical stream, so if you want to follow along what we're watching, it's on the main screen. But good to see you, man. Thanks for joining the stream. So what to do? Pull all gears up and belly land? Well, that's definitely an option, Thrust Set. You know, and there's been a lot of debate about what's better, gear up or land with one gear down. So in terms of some GA airplanes or some prop-driven aircraft, that appears to be a better solution. When it comes to wide-body airliners and just airliners in general, I think that's going to just have to be a game-time decision. Because there's always going to be, you got problems no matter what you do. You're going to have a problem if you land with one gear down or two gear down versus three. And then if you belly land it, now you're definitely going to have a lot of problems. So there's really no good option. It's just going to have to be a decision that's made in the moment, you know, and that's going to, especially talking to your maintenance control right over the top of the HQ building there. I mean, they're going to be able to tell you what to do. Now, what I would do personally, I have had gear issues before, not in the Airbus, but I have had a gear fail to extend in a twin piston aircraft, and multiple times actually. But what I always did is I did a fly over of the tower or down the runway, and I had them tell me which gear was not down, what did it look like, was it fully extended or not extended at all. In one case I had a partial extension, and in another case I had a complete, it did not extend at all. Both of those times I was able to remedy the situation with alternate gear extension, so I never did end up gear upping or landing with not more than three wheels down. I did land with the unsafe light on and the gear not down light, but everything ended up being just fine. As soon as I came to stop on the runway, shut everything down, had maintenance come out, pin the gear, and then tow it back. But yeah, it's a tough call, especially a main gear. A nose wheel is one thing. I think with a nose gear problem, I think I would always opt to land with the mains down and just have the nose come down and hit. But when you have a main gear not coming down, there's a lot of ways that can go that are suboptimal. Swarm says, I had my nose gear fail to extend on my long cross country for commercial. Wow. Of course. Did you end up getting it down, Swarm, with the emergency extension, or how'd you remedy that one? Tango says, I had a gear unsafe in a Chieftain. Hey, that's what I had mine in, Tango Kilo, as if they weren't pissed off enough at me. Yeah, Tango Kilo. Both my gear unsafe situations were in a Piper Chieftain. That is correct. Oh, you know what? I had a third one. I had it in a 99 as well, but that one was a simple recycle and it came down. So, but the two Chieftain ones, I actually did a low pass both occasions, get a visual inspection. When I ended up, long story short, say before podcast, but essentially what happened with the Chieftain is they had, I want to say it was a brake assembly, or they had they had put the wrong assembly on the right main. It was a left main assembly that they had on the right side, and it wasn't coming out of the bay all the time. It was rub. It was just, yeah. I'll save that for a podcast. But Swarm says I recycled and extended. I was more worried I'd have to redo the flight. Yeah, I had a gear unsafe on a 172s after a bad landing. Hey, I guess I get a lot of gear unsafes on 172s. Jeez.
Flight 24 continued holding above London. After much troubleshooting, it began to dawn on the crew that they may have no other choice but to land their massive aircraft without one of the landing gear legs. To say this posed a challenge...
Hold on. TIR98 says, speaking of Chieftain, did you see FlySomewhere's making one? What? Is this verified? For real? FlySomewhere is making a Piper Chieftain for Microsoft? Dude, I hope that's confirmed. That would be epic. All right, TOD's coming up.
Was an understatement.
Hurry up.
This was something the pilots had never practiced in the simulator. And now, they might have to do it for the first time in the real aircraft with over 100 people on board. But the passengers and crew were not the only ones who'd be affected by a crash landing at Heathrow. As soon as the airport's operations duty manager found out about the stricken plane, he contacted the airline and told them that if their flight crash landed at Heathrow, the airport would be left with only one main runway, causing major congestion.
Leave it to somebody who's not a pilot to come up with that problem. All right, JJ, thanks for the $5 super chat. Appreciate you. Why not gear up, foam the runway? It should work. Spirit foamed the whole fleet the other day. That's a lot of foam. Yeah, they had I saw the Detroit hangar for Spirit Airlines foamed out. Yeah, that was not a good one, man. Fire suppression. Hopefully they have insurance for that. But that, JJ, you're absolutely right. That would be the process. You would elect to do a gear up landing and foam the runway. Either way, you'd probably elect to foam the runway, whether you elect to land with a gear down or not all of them down. But absolutely, you're going to want the runway foamed. So, over 100 people on board at A340. That's a pretty empty flight, huh?
As a result, he suggested that the pilots diverted to Manston Airport in Kent, southeast England.
Let's be honest. The company man that came up with this solution, he was trying to prevent the media from flocking Heathrow.
This was a reasonable suggestion. Manston was
Here, go land out on this airport in the middle of nowhere so it doesn't get publicity and make the airline look bad.
a military base with a 9,000-foot long runway, well suited for a large aircraft like the A340. The airport had fire rescue services, and they'd be ready for Flight 24's arrival if the captain did decide to divert there.
All joking aside, though, that does seem like a good alternative, right? Longer runway, fire services, less stuff to crash into, right? I mean, going into a gear unsafe problem into Heathrow, you're definitely it's gonna be cause for concern and other snowballing effects of the problem. So, joking aside, this does seem like a good alternative option.
But unfortunately, time was not on the captain's side. As
Doesn't
the
have the fuel?
four-engine plane flew around the hold at 8,000 feet, it was burning fuel quickly.
And he's got the gear out.
If the captain was going to divert, he would need to make this decision soon. The plane had only 1 hour of fuel remaining.
Yeah. You're gonna want at least
But
enough
before
fuel to
doing
do a
anything
go
as
around.
potentially catastrophic as landing without one of the main gear, the captain wanted to be absolutely certain that it even had a problem to begin with. After all, it was possible that there was nothing wrong with the gear at all, and that
Correct.
faulty sensors were the cause of all the indications. From their position in the cockpit, the pilots had no way of knowing for sure what the issue was. What they needed was for somebody on the ground to tell them.
The tower, come on, man.
So, the captain asked air traffic control
There
if
you
he
go.
could do something that very few pilots will ever get to attempt at a busy airport like London Heathrow.
Now that'd be sweet to do a
He
low
asked
pass at
for a
DFW.
low-level approach to
You know,
runway
the
27
Airbus.
right, followed by a flyby of the control tower right over the center of the airport.
Okay, that's
This
sweet.
way, controllers could verify the status of the landing gear. This maneuver was approved by air traffic control. The captain informed the passengers and
Man,
flight
I bet
attendants
they
of
had to
this
halt
plan.
all traffic
When
for
they
this.
saw the terminals of Heathrow Airport going by right outside their windows, they were not to be concerned.
Tower, this is Ghost Rider 117.
Within a few
requesting
minutes,
flyby.
the captain had lined up with the runway. He was now acting as pilot flying, with the first officer acting as pilot monitoring, and the relief pilot helping out with procedures and checklists. It was a busy few minutes as the aircraft neared the runway. An engineer from the airline had raced to the tower so that he would be ready to check the landing gear when the plane passed overhead. With the aircraft barely 300 feet above the ground, only slightly more than the wingspan of the A340, the captain banked to the left.
Look at
and
that
headed
FS
directly
Project
towards
side
the
stick
control
right
tower
there.
At Heathrow. As he neared the center of the airport, he banked to the right, giving those in the tower a clear view of the left main gear and belly of the A340.
Much coffee was
The
spilled in
engineer
the
standing
tower.
in the control
Oh,
tower
look at that.
determined that the left
That's a
gear was
sweet
partially
shot.
extended, and he described it to the crew of Flight 24 as hanging in the bay.
Yeah, that's not good.
This was not good news, but the pilots weren't expecting much better. Now with the true state of the gear known, the captain began climbing and turning back northeast. Eager to get the gear fully down for a safe landing, the crew wanted to spend a few more minutes troubleshooting before attempting another approach. And this time, given that they had already exhausted their checklists, the airline's A340 fleet manager suggested over the radio that they try something a little unorthodox. He proposed that the pilots come back around for another approach, but rather than trying to land, they should touch down on the right main
What?
gear in an effort to bump the left landing gear down.
What?
The idea here was that this may shake free whatever was preventing the left gear from extending.
Alright. I don't know what's going to happen. I haven't seen this. I don't know if he accepts it or not. If he accepts it, I mean, this dude is freaking Chuck Yeager as far as I'm concerned. I don't know if I'd accept that one. You want me to come down, smash the one remaining gear, bump and go? I don't know if I would do that. I mean, depending on the aircraft, you can oppose a G force, like, roll the airplane in. So in this case, you would probably roll to the left and then try to pull 2 Gs or so to get to have the G force pull it out. I would rather do that over trying to bump the gear on the pavement, because here's the problem with that. Even if the gear does fall, say it falls when you impact with that right main, it may not even lock, because the gears, as it's falling down, is going to impact the pavement, and it could cause more issues. I don't know. I just see a lot of potential issues with that. I'm very curious to see what happens here. I don't know what the A340 calls for in terms of procedures, but I do know in some aircraft, and I think I don't know, F-18 maybe, wingnut. What did you guys do in the to pull Gs, to put G load on the airplane? So that was a technique that was suggested when I flew freight as well. If you had a gear problem, to impose a G load, see if you can get the gear to hang down. I would much rather do that than do this bump and go here. This is going to be sus.
This was a risky maneuver. In order for it to have any chance of working, the pilots would need to come down quite hard. But at the same time, they couldn't come down so hard.
Yeah, what if they collapsed the right main?
They would break the only good landing gear they had left. On top of this, there was also the chance that upon touching down on the right-hand side, the plane would just tilt over to the left and come crashing down, skidding off the runway.
Yes. No bueno.
The pilots were tempted. Landing without the left main gear
Who
was
told them
fraught
to
with
do
danger.
this?
If they had any chance of lowering
What
it,
type of
they
danger?
would take it.
Grave danger? Who suggested that?
As they
Was it the
discussed
guy on
this
the ground?
possibility with each other, the low fuel warning came out.
Yeah, that's not good. It's time to make a move.
On top of all the other pressures they were facing, they now had the issue of time to contend with. They had to make the right decision, and they had to make it fast. On top of the other dangers inherent in the attempt to bump the landing
The
gear
fleet
free on
captain?
the runway, even if it did work,
Wrong
the
side.
pilots
What's up,
would
man?
still have to come back around and land again once they had freed the gear.
Yeah, that's another
The
go
extra
around,
fuel
another
required
fuel
for this
burn.
was a luxury the pilots simply didn't.
And then you're going to have no fuel for a third attempt. So in a perfect scenario, and we've talked about this briefly sometimes in recurrent training and stuff, the ideal fuel load for me, whatever your airplane is, if you're going to do a gear unsafe landing, you want to have enough fuel for a go around on your attempt, right? So you don't want to have so much fuel that you can risk a big fire and all the weight and all that stuff that comes into it. But you don't want to have excess fuel, but you don't want to have very little fuel either, because when you need to make a perfect approach and a perfect landing. If the parameters don't line up for perfection on your first pass, you want to have the fuel to go around, come back around, and give yourself a second chance at least, right? And that second go around may be with the gear down the whole way, so you're going to burn some more fuel on the go around. So that is, in my opinion, the optimum fuel state for a gear unsafe attempt here, is have enough fuel for the approach, a go around, and come back in and try it again. So
didn't have at this point. And after already being on duty for 12 hours through the night,
yeah, of course,
the pilots themselves were now low on mental fuel too.
Ask the flight attendant to brew some lab
With
coffee.
all of this in mind, the captain decided that the next approach they would do would be their final one. And
Good
to keep
call.
things familiar, he decided that he'd be landing at London Heathrow, not Manston. The emergency vehicles at Heathrow got ready as Flight 24 began preparations for its final approach.
Dude's like, yeah, I gotta go. I'm going home after this. I'm not going to Manstead. If I crash the 340, I'm going home after. I ain't going out to frickin' Manstead, be stuck at crew accommodations desk trying to get a hotel room.
Still trying to think of any last-minute solutions to the gear problem.
TOD check. I'll
Maintenance
tell you what.
personnel
I'll use
Virgin
Mini
Atlantic
FCU.
came
I'm
up with
gonna
another
step
idea.
down to flight level 240
Rather than
right now with
using
Mini
G-forces
FCU.
on the ground to free the gear, what if the pilots used them in the air? They asked the captain to try what would be a rather uncomfortable and frightening maneuver for the passengers: to put the plane in a steep turn and keep pulling back on the side stick in order to induce enough G-forces to pull the landing gear down. This was like a gravity gear extension, but with more gravity. Again,
Wingnut says, I did the gear bump thing in an F-16. It didn't work. It just turned into a shitty landing. Gear was already down. Nice. Astro, what's up, man? Good to see you. Wrens, I think X-Plane 12 has made some good improvements. As far as if it's worth it or not yet, it's to be seen, man. Still to be seen.
It wasn't in the procedures, but it made sense, and the captain figured that it was worth a shot. He put the plane in a steep turn, with as much as 50 degrees angle of bank.
Nice.
So steep that it was closer to being on its side than straight and level. With the high workload the pilots were under at this point,
I bet he
they
liked
hadn't
this. I bet he
warned
was
the
like, this is
passengers
fun.
that they were going to do this beforehand.
Oh, he didn't warn the passengers?
As they felt the plane turn sharply and got pushed into their seats by the powerful G-forces, many of the passengers became nervous. During the turn, they weighed 1.5 times their normal weight. As the captain banked low over London, the pilots watched their instruments carefully. This really was a last-ditch effort to get the gear down. The seconds ticked on, but as they did, the indications didn't change. Even weighing 1.5 times their normal weight wasn't enough to pull the gear down. There was no denying it now. This would be an emergency landing. Coming up to 10 minutes past 4 that afternoon, the crew declared a mayday to air traffic control. All departing aircraft were stopped, arriving aircraft were put into holding patterns, and the runways and taxiways were cleared of aircraft and vehicles.
Wow.
The airport fire
Operation
trucks
grinding to
now
a halt.
began racing towards the runway, and were given permission to enter it once the A340 had touched down. Everybody on the ground was preparing for the worst. Now, more low fuel warnings began appearing in the cockpit. The pilots really did have to land as soon as possible. But still, there was another consideration to make. There was a 13-knot crosswind from the south. Because the plane's vertical stabilizer acts like a weather vane, the aircraft tends to point into the wind. If the pilots landed on runway 27 right and lost control, there was a chance they would go off the runway to the left and crash into the passenger terminal
And the
buildings
gear
at
is
Heathrow.
up on the left side, too.
The safer option, therefore, was to land on runway 27 left. That way, if they went off the side of the runway, they were less likely to crash into occupied buildings. With that in mind, the pilots began setting up to land on runway 27 left at Heathrow.
Good call there.
To further increase their chances of staying on the runway, the fleet manager suggested to the pilots that they land on the right-hand side of the runway. This way, when the aircraft swung to the left after touchdown, it would have much more runway to eat into before going off the side. This assistance from people on the ground was crucial, as even the augmented crew of
That's a
3
good
in
thought.
the cockpit was struggling to keep up with the intense workload as they configured the plane for landing.
I think you still have to be careful with your wheelbase, right? You don't want to put the one good main into the dirt by landing too far to the right, but giving yourself a little extra room.
It was an extremely busy environment, with constant communication within the cockpit and between the cockpit and air traffic control, the airline, and the cabin crew. The pilots were functioning well together as a team, with the captain flying the aircraft, the first officer assisting with communications with air traffic control and the company, while the relief pilot helped find information in manuals and kept the cabin crew informed of the situation. To give them more time to run their checklists, the captain asked air traffic control for a 360-degree turn, which was granted. The pilots retracted the landing gear once more, and went through the checklist from the top to ensure that nothing had been overlooked. They also told the cabin crew to prepare for an emergency landing and possible evacuation. These were the final crucial few minutes when the pilots still had the aircraft under control. They would need to do everything they could to maximize their chances of a successful outcome now. When they got on the ground, there would be very little they could do. At this point, nearing the approach path for the runway, the pilots reviewed the checklist for landing with abnormal gear. And
Hey,
here,
Jay.
they would meet one of the more important considerations they would have to make. As it turned out, the pilots didn't agree with the instructions given in the checklist.
Ooh.
It told them to shut down all of the engines just before touchdown.
Ooh.
The reason
Really?
for this was clear. The engines would pose a serious fire risk
Definitely
once they
ought
began
to break
scraping
off,
along the
stress it.
ground. But the pilots knew that there was more to think about than just the risk of fire. The engines supply hydraulic power to the flight controls. If the pilots shut them down when they landed, they would have very little control over the aircraft.
Yeah.
They would essentially become passengers in their own airplane as it scraped and skidded along the runway.
That's a tough one. Would you shut down just 1 and 2 because you're going to land on engine 1 and 2? But if you shut down 1 and 2, that's also going to increase the yaw to the left. Would you just shut down the 3 and 4 side so you kind of use the adverse yaw from the right side to keep you somewhat going down the runway? Maybe. That's a thought too. Why not APU on? I mean, yes, you could run the APU, but then the APU does not provide hydraulic power. APU does not provide hydraulic power. So at least, I don't know if it does on the 350. I would imagine it does not on the 340. Yeah, I don't know. At least it would be a reduced hydraulic load, I'm assuming, if they were just running the APU. Maybe shut down the farthest left engine. You could, perhaps. I don't know. I almost think I would keep them all running on this one. I don't know, because you don't want to be. You're already doing a non-standard approach and landing, and everything's gonna get wonky. You really want to throw in some engine shutdown too with this? I don't know.
Crash landing as survivable as possible, they would need to be able to control the aircraft for as long as they could, even if that increased the risk of fire.
Thank you, AJ.
After discussing various possibilities with his colleagues, the captain devised a plan. They would touch down on the right main gear, on the right-hand side of the runway. As soon as they touched down, the relief pilot would turn off engines 1 and 4, the 2 outboard engines on the end of the wings. These were the engines that would hit the ground first, and shutting them both down would reduce the chances of the plane swinging significantly after
Very smart. Very smart. Good call.
landing. By keeping engines 2 and 3 running, the plane would retain hydraulic power, which would allow the captain to control it using his side stick. He would use this control to hold the left wing in the air for as long as possible, keeping the engines off the runway. Then, when the aircraft had slowed down to the point that the wing could no longer stay in the air, the pilots would shut down the remaining engine on the left-hand side, followed shortly after by the inboard engine on the right-hand side.
Man, what a plan. Jeez.
This careful, progressive shutdown of the aircraft's power plants was aimed at balancing the risk of fire with the need to maintain control of the plane for as long as possible on the ground. This was the plan anyway. Whether it actually worked as they zoomed along the runway at over 130 knots or 240 kilometers an hour was another question entirely. The fact was that the crew had now become test pilots and their passengers unwitting guinea pigs.
Alright, we need to see where we're at here real quick. Hold on, let me do a flight plan check. It says dry, runway too short. I think we're okay. Alright, let's finish this real quick. We might have our own problems with runway too short. Runway too short.
Finally, the captain turned to line up for runway 27 left.
That's a pretty complex thing to do while
he
crashing.
Would see if his bet on the landing technique would pay off.
That's the problem having 4 engines. 2 engines you just
Descending through 1,000 feet, the pilots warned the flight attendants and passengers that landing was imminent.
Steven, you're out of here. You're going to an interview? All right, man. Good luck, dude. We'll see you on the other side, bud.
Tension was high. There was nothing the crew could do now but action their plan and hope for the best. Just 200 feet above the ground, the pilots gave the order to brace. The flight attendants repeatedly shouted to the passengers to adopt the brace position as the aircraft neared the runway.
Down. Bearings down.
This was the moment of truth. The captain kept the plane heading for the right-hand side of the runway. Sitting behind him with an overview of the cockpit, the relief pilot readied himself to shut down engines 1 and 4 on touchdown. Finally, the right main gear touched the ground. The relief pilot cut engines 1 and 4 immediately. The captain held the left wing up, but he went a bit too far, and the outboard engine on the right-hand side scraped along the runway, sending sparks flying. The passengers held on tight as the aircraft swung and shuddered violently. Fire crews began racing towards the plane, chasing it as it half flew, half drove down the runway. As the plane slowed down, it became harder and harder for the captain to hold the left wing in the air.
That had to be freaking
He knew he would now need to bring it
9,000, dude, I tell you.
He slowly released pressure on the side stick and ordered for the inboard engine on the left-hand side to be shut down, which the relief pilot did. The left engines touched the ground, producing a trail of sparks and smoke along the runway. The captain began braking and then ordered the shutdown of the number 3 engine. The aircraft skidded to the left, and the captain pushed his right rudder fully to the stop, trying desperately to keep it from veering off the runway. This skidding put major stress on the right main wheels, causing the tires to burst. Finally, after a harrowing ordeal, the aircraft came to a halt on the runway.
Wow.
Incredibly, everybody on board was safe, with nobody sustaining even minor injuries during the landing. Within 3 minutes of touching down, all of the 114 passengers and
I mean, that just looked like they were just a fraction away from pirouetting, cartwheeling up, and doing a 180. Like, if you've seen the Asiana crash where it impacts and then it kind of lifts up one wing and just spins around 180, I mean, it looked like that airplane was just getting ready to just lift up and 180 around. But the fact that they held it the way they did, and they're still on the freaking runway. Look at that.
crew had evacuated. Captain
Wow.
Barnaby's technique for landing the aircraft and shutting down the engines had proven so successful that Airbus adopted it as their official procedure after the incident.
Captain Giga
As for the
Chad.
cause of the gear trouble in the first place,
Jeez.
investigators
Still-
were not able to determine the exact failure sequence, as the gear assembly was missing crucial parts. However, it was clear that the pin which came loose and was found on the shore of the Pacific Ocean back in Los
Wow.
Angeles
How did they
had been
find
subject
the
to higher
pin?
loads than anticipated by Airbus during its life, and therefore that the assembly which it was part of would need to be redesigned. Nothing the pilots could have done during the flight would have been able to free the gear. Airbus have since redesigned this part, making jammed landing gear much less likely in future. On top of this, the changes they made to the checklists and to the quick reference handbook have meant that crews are now better equipped to deal with these problems when they do occur. This was an incident which could have ended up much worse, were it
Wow.
not for the calm, methodical approach demonstrated by the flight crew, the help they got from those on the ground, and the willingness of everybody on board to think outside the box to accomplish a safe landing.
That's incredible. I mean, just seeing the image of that airplane with its wing up like that. Oh my goodness. What a job by the crew. I mean, they really, to go through the mental gymnastics of all of that after a 10-hour long haul into the night, into the morning. I mean, I don't think that can be understated by how challenging that must have actually been to be it there. That was just well done job indeed, Wingnet. I mean, I can't imagine you touch down and then the right engine strikes, and that must have been a very violent vibration up front. Just nuts. Absolutely nuts. Francis, what's up, man? Nathan, good to see you, man, over there in the cockpit cam. What's going on? Now we're gonna have to shoehorn this 350 into Queensland. Yeah. It's we got a lot less problems to worry about here, but we need to get on this right now. So let's go ahead and bring out the terminal charts for Queenstown. We are on the approach for the RMP Zulu 05. And let's set this up here. So the minimum's not authorized for C and D aircraft, so that's fine. We're still going to do it anyway. 22, 23, 24 on the min. So let's go ahead and start setting this up. Min's 2324. And we need to get the weather from there as well. Let me go to landing perf. Sync FMS. Sync weather. Compute. Landing above landing runway depth. Landing distance 6,000 feet. Factor to 6,900 feet. We're at 193 feet. Can we dump gas? How much fuel do we have? We've got 18,500 pounds. We might need to dump some fuel. Let's speed up a little bit. Let's go ahead and select 320 indicated. Let's burn a little extra gas here at 24,000 feet. Finally done with meetings. Tyson, what's up, man? Parking brake set for landing. Well, I think we can dump fuel as well. We might have to dump fuel. Let's go back to the perf data, though. Winds are 030 at 5 and 5 degrees. So 5 degrees. Winds 030 at 5 knots. Nope. Oh my gosh, what? I know, I'm entering it. 5 knots, and the QNH 29 or 88. Config full. All right, that's what we got. 29088 config full auto brake selection is going to be braking action. What does that do? Oh, it changes. Ah. Water, slush, dry. We're going to do landing 05 dry, 6. Too short still. You can only do medium or brake to vacate. Where is the medium selection? Brake medium, I guess, is what you would select. Okay, or brake to vacate. Well, we're not going to do brake to vacate because we won't fit. I mean, we could try. Do you think we should try to select brake to vacate on there? How do I get to brake to vacate mode? Take a minute to load it in here. Manual braking? I could do manual braking. I just kind of wanted to see. I wanted to see what would happen. Oh, I guess it's not gonna load. I forget how to do brake. Even get the brake to vacate loaded up. All right, we'll do manual braking. Max manual brakes. Descending via the arrival. Let me step back here real quick. 9200. Ibabu at 2200. So we'll set 90 at or above 9200 there. We'll set 10,000 right now when it's time. But before then, let me go here to the perf. Recruise us here at 24,000 feet as we get a new TOD. That should recycle our top of descent. Nah, we're not doing 6.4 Mach. We're gonna burn the gas. Yesterday, Lufthansa 34600 flew from Boston to Frankfurt the whole way over the Atlantic Ocean at 10,000 feet because a high loader in Boston damaged the belly and couldn't pressurize. Really? It flew the entire way at 10,000 feet? Wow. Turk is here. Is Turk here? Turk is here. Yeah, what's up, man? Late to the party. What's up, Johan? Good to see you, man. We are getting ready to attempt to get a 350 into Queenstown. Man, the weather radar looks like there's actually some stuff out there. 120 miles, destination. Why are we getting a destination EFB? 12.5, so we don't have a whole lot of extra gas to play with, but our perf data has been completed. Let me look at, that's good. I guess we can pin this one. As far as the airport is concerned, it's only 5,800 feet. I really thought it was longer than that. Well, I am having second thoughts now. UDAM 4, these are all our charts. Just get them pinned. 24 and 15 at UBDAM. I'll tell you what, we're going to make LADIP a hard altitude at 11 to get our profile set up. So let's put you back in flight plan mode. And I said LADIP, I want to make this at 11,000 feet. I'm going to make that a hard 11. There we go. Now we can see our TODs come back a little bit. Just past Bevco there, 40 miles out. There is some weather on the horizon, chat. Oh, look at those clouds, though. Landed and took the Felis 74 in Queenstown. Should work. All right. Dude, the Felis into here, Fly to Live? You took the Felis into Queenstown? Spicy. I got no time to divert 3 greens. I got to be out of here in like 40 minutes. Speaking of, it has us landing when? At 22:26. Has us landing in 23 minutes, which is...
Eastbound traffic has it with Kilo 666 Lira.
We got one shot.
Beginning the RNP for 05.
Alright, he's at Ababu already. Queenstown traffic, Air New Zealand 357 Heavy. We're at 24,000 feet. Just getting ready to just come down the UDAM 4 Alpha arrival for 05 Queenstown. I floated halfway down Jacksonville last night and still stopped. You can do it. Jason, I know that had to be I wonder if any ships had images of that airplane at 10,000 feet. Probably not that hard to spot. I wonder why Airbus Geek, was it a revenue flight? How did they have that much fuel to go at 10,000? I mean, I guess they got the ETOPS fuel. They have enough fuel to go down their single engine, so maybe. But the weather at 10,000 is probably not as tough as you may think. I'd rather get bumped around down low than I would at 35,000 feet. So it may not be the most comfortable for the passengers, but it's really not much danger. As long as you slow down maneuvering speed, it should be all right. When I start getting moderate turbulence at 38, 39,000 feet, that's when the hairs start to stand up on my neck. I found out what causes crashes with Chrome, and you can disable it in services. AMD External Events Client Module. Have Vodka look it up. I disabled mine. I can now run accelerated GPU with no issues. Really? Well, I'm not going to mess with anything right now because my sim has been pretty stable, knock on wood. But wait, Team Vodka, you crashed? What? The Learjet radar contact lost? How? How did you crash on the approach? 3 greens. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Oh, ferry flight. Oh, yeah. A ferry flight at 10,000. That makes sense, of course. Qantas did the same thing with the 737 from Perth to Sydney. What would usually take 4 took 6.5. Man, I ferried a 321 from DFW to Detroit at 10,000 feet. Was it a 321? It might have been a 319. That was fun. Oh, your sim crashed, Vodka. Oh, I thought you meant you crashed the airplane. Dude, I don't know. Something's going on with your sim, man. This 2020 is dead. 2020 sim is unstable, man. 2020 unstable. All right, I got 11,000 set in the mini FCU. Let's go ahead and bring up the cruise here. We'll bring up the full screen cam up here. And we are getting ready. That's not Iveo, dude. It's your sim. It's 2020 mid sim causing crashes. I do love this livery though, man. Oh, look at that. EEA beautiful. 3 greens, I'm with you. We need to get that on a polygraph. All right, down we go. Managed speed 11,000. Here we go. Or speed descent. And we need to also be 250 knots at UDAM. So we're starting our descent just a few miles early. Looks like we'll level prior to UDAM, and then we will slow down. Keeping our speed up because we got car appointments, chat. Yeah, Max, I love this livery. Look at that there. That's got to be hot in the summertime. It's got to be. Air New Zealand and Fiji have some of the best liveries out there. Yeah, look at all the white, fluffy clouds in Goat Sim. I know. Look at that, dude. Puffy, fluffy, beautiful. go. There's a good shot. Looks better on the 7.8. 7.8 just doesn't look good, man. I don't know. Something with the nose. I don't know why Boeing screwed up the nose on the 787. They have the best noses on all their airplanes, and then they come out with the 787, and it just looks awful. Z-Burns 2024 runs so terribly on your PC. Gonna stick with 2020. Really? Man, see, that's... everyone's PC is just so different, man. My 2020 runs terrible now. I get way better perf in 24 than I do 2020. Blasphemy, the 787 nose is one of the best Boeing noses? Dude. It looks like it ran into the terminal. Yeah, the problem with the Boeing nose is you gotta smush a 737 flight deck into it. We do have somebody else out there on Aveo. I think we're going to cross over the top of them. Or they're going to cross over the top of us, 2,000 feet above. Queenstown traffic entering on 357 Heavy at a 21,000 feet just prior to Ignet Udam 4 Mike arrival. Queenstown traffic. Alright, so there will be no floaties on this approach. I want to go back to the approach chart and see the speed on this. Are there any speed constraints here? We're going to have to configure a little bit early so we can be slow enough for this hard RNP. We'll see if she can do it. Does the HUD work? How do I lower the HUD? Is there a HUD switch? Oh, the button? The lever? Oh, HUD doesn't work yet? Really? Oh, that's a bummer. I had no idea. Alright, so this first in-betweener is between 15 and 240. We're starting to pick up some turbulence. Let's go ahead and get all the seatbelt signs on. I don't want anybody's cell phones on. They're not. No one's allowed to record this. Oh, look at that. I don't want any recording going on here. No HUD, but you can go under the flight deck. I do like going into the avionics bay, AJ. AJ's just sad. Can't fly goat sim. Why are the barely in chat messages displayed? Nathan, you're on the mobile chat. Optimized for mobile. So the main chat is going on the main channel right now. This plane is extremely sensitive to weather on approach. Is that realistic for such a big plane? I don't know, SWA. I've never flown a 350. I've never flown a 350, so I'm not sure. I definitely know you can feel it in the crosswind. J-Space, you're recording us? Uh-oh. All right, here comes 250, or excuse me, here comes 15,000. Now I'm going to go ahead and manually start decelling 250. 250 selected. Tutko, thanks for the $5 super chat. If you land without a WASM crash, Gustavo owes you 5 gifted subs. Otherwise, I owe you 5. Deal. Deal, Tutko. Appreciate the $5 super chat. Yeah, Gus has been talking all the smack about WASM crashes. We'll see here. Anti-ice op. Well, it's... Nah, I don't need any anti-ice right now. We're out of it. We'll get it on the next cloud. Alright, Magic Bear RF 1013 is set. I'm going to help it out here with some speed brakes. Get the profile up. Turk in the US, thanks for the $3 super chat, man. Almost at 50k subs. Still no BFU. Channel in shambles. Thank you for the $3 super chat, Turk. Yeah. I hope it's close, man. Maybe 50, maybe BFU before 50K subs. Who knows, dude? We got to be close. I'm getting the recording ready right now, chat. Get the recording ready right now. All right, recording is ready. All right, there's 250. Speed descent to 11. I'll tell you, we're in selected speed. We'll go to the perf page, and we'll just activate, confirm the approach phase right now. Destination fuel below limit. That's good because we're overweight. You know what? I probably should have done a test sector, see if we could land here. I don't know why I was thinking this runway was longer than that. I mean, 5,300 feet is short for 321. There's not going to be any butters on this biscuit. We're gonna put this sucker down. Put her down. Max reverse. Set max reverse. I will start the recording from what's that fix? I guess we'll do it from Ibabu. Yeah, we'll do Ibabu inbound. We'll be recording. All right, it's +2. Let's go ahead and get engine NIS on. Getting some turbulence now for sure. Look at that. Barry Seal would do it. Yes, he would. Why is it so bumpy today? 27 knots of wind over these mountain peaks. That'll do it. All right, we're going to keep coming down now. Vertical speed 0, but I'm going to set 9,000. Remanage. Speed descent 10,000 magenta. We'll set 3,100. All right, 10's magenta, 3,100 is set. Nope, I've never flown on a 350 either. But on the 7.8, not the 350. I don't think so. Nah, I don't think so. No terrain radar? Here, turn it on. I had the weather on. I guess we don't need the weather, right? Terrain's gonna kill you. No scheduled wide-body flights. All right. Well, we're going to be the first one, JJ. In the unlikely event of a water landing, we should be landing the other direction so we can go off into the water. I'll tell you what. Approach armed. Approach descent. RNPAR is up. It's 220 max. I'm going to come back straight to 210. VFE, flaps 1. Here we go. Back to 180. Staying ahead of it now. All right, recording is on. Recording checked. Ibabu inbound, we're 220 and slowing to 180. Can you do? Nope, it's just one autopilot. All right, AP1. Alt constraint. Now it will auto deploy flaps 1. That's so cool. That is really cool about the 350. Hey, K6, what are the Vegas odds on this landing rate? Jeez. I don't know, man, but I'm a little nervous. Thanks for the $5 super chat, K6. Hope you're well, bud. We were in your neck of the woods yesterday. I tried to go to Hayward, but I couldn't get my autopilot engaged, so we diverted to Ukiah. Yeah, Tango Kilo. So the 350, when you select flaps 1, it will do the slats first, just like the narrow body. But then once you slow below the next flap speed, it will actually deploy the flap portion of 1 plus F as well. So you have 1 plus F instead of just flaps 1. Very cool. All right, 160 I'm going to select because the next is 170 max. Let's go flaps 2, speed checks flaps 2. Descent. $9,200's magenta now. Wingnut, I know, dude. Listen, the 350, man, it's ready. It's ready for single pilot ops, dude. All right, SARDA inbound, we will configure all the way. 160, we're flaps 2, we're looking good. JJ, thanks for $2 super chat. No pressure, we're all watching you. Hey, you're always all watching me. Wingnut, yeah. That is it, man. Good thing Europe has kind of slowed down on that Airbus single pilot stuff. We're approaching the approach leg, AJ. Straight out of the V1 Academy of what not to do. Precisely, 3 greens. All right, app descent nav, missed approach altitude is F'd. So if we have to go missed, the last thing I'm concerned about is reaching 9,000 or 10,000. We'll set 10,000 feet now. Missed approach altitude set 10,000 white. Manage speed. Gear down. Spoilers are armed. Are we upwind or downwind? I think we're upwind of the downwind approach rate. Doing a hell of a job. Probably didn't even need to lower the gear this far out. Let's just bang on this RMP here. I love the wing textures. I got the dirt turned up. Alright, no engine anti-ice no longer required. That'll help us out perf-wise. Those are coming off Let's get the rest of our lights on. Forgot to do that at 10,000. Alright. Turning final here, we're looking good. Oh, we got ages to go. I thought the runway was going to be right up here. Oh man, we've got all the time in the world. Well, this is good. We'll burn a little extra fuel. We're down to 11,000 pounds. That's not much at all. Yep, recording started. I told you, we've gone through the valley multiple times. I want to approach from this direction. Plus the wind is favoring this direction. It looks awesome. Can you turn the cabin Wi-Fi back on? I have to complete my life insurance application. Nope. All Wi-Fi has been inopt. Look at the cloud layer though, right on the tips of those mountains. Love this sim. Oh, yeah, I think I know what you're talking about, Gus. The earlier valley. I think we did that in the Fenix, right? Where you come through this valley and then turn up, or no, it's this valley right here. We did that in the Fenix on the Australia-New Zealand tour, Gus. I think that's yeah. I know what you're talking about. I thought this was one of those approaches. I guess it wasn't. Yes, it has weather radar and terrain radar. Alright, reminder, we're going to have to check the brake temps too on this. Yeah, we should have been configuring right about now. Is the runway? Okay, there's the runway right there. There we go. Good. Alright, here we go. Final configuration. Full flap sim. The pressure is standard. Well, it's 10-12 now. Alright, let's hand fly it. Autopilot's coming off. Runway's in sight. Just stay locked in here on the R&P for now. Return leg, no. As soon as this ends, we're gonna do one replay of the touchdown, and then I'll give you one full replay to watch, and then I'm out. I got some stuff I need to do. Tomorrow I can't stream. I'm going to Cancun. Real world. Speaking of, I got to make sure I have the uniform ready to go for tomorrow. I forgot. Pick up my dry cleaning. So here's a little jaunt to the right.
2000.
Landing checks, cabin crew advise auto thrust. Speed, auto brakes are off. ECAM the landing sign's blue. We need to call the purser, tell her to get ready. We're ready. Landing check is complete. Don't need a dry clean Lulu's. I may or may not have allegedly aborted a pair. We'll see. It's going to be a surprise.
Minimum.
Runway's in sight. Landing. Alright, flight director's off. Give me the bird. We're visual.
1000.
Could have left the R&P on all the way down, but more fun this way. Landing imminent. Alright. I would ideally like 3 reds. 3 or 4 reds. Put it down just past the threshold here.
500.
There's our 3 reds.
400. 300.
Runway too short. We're going. Nope, no going around now.
200.
No, it's not. You'll be
190, 80, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, retard, 10, 5.
More brakes, more brakes, more brakes. Gosh, we're still going 100 knots. It looks like we're going so much slower than that. 70. And you guys said we wouldn't be able to stop. Now, I did have to lock up the brakes the entire time. This will be interesting here. We'll see if we can make this turn. Like a glove. We're going to check the brake temps. Let me see if we can make this 180 here. I thought we were going to land a little bit softer than that. We're going to go with the dirt just a little bit to get the nose turned around. Whew. All right. Spoilers are coming down. Flaps are coming up. We're going to stop the recording. Hiya. Let's see. If I look at our flight tracker map, I'm going to end the flight. I'm going to see what it was. Oh, chat. What do you think it was? It was 1.06 G. Alright, how are the brake temps? 110 and climbing? 260? 230? Ooh, that's a couple close guesses. Man. 1.06 G, the nose gear? Oh my gosh. Oh, we're not even going to shut it down when we get to the terminal because we got to do, like I said, I got to bounce. But, ooh, there's a 340 sitting over there. Or 330, rather. It's deceiving because I thought we were going slow and I looked down and we're still doing 100 knots. We're here, now get out. Alright, take this exit right here. A Swiss. Hey Gus, AJ, no WASM crashes, buddy. Oh, well, the terminal's doing that weird thing. So it will fit. Now, it will not fit in this parking spot. E-Star Jet 73 is going to have some company here. Can't park here, mate. Hey, look, it's Turk. All right. Like I said, no shutdown. We are in a time crunch, so recording is starting now. Let me disconnect from Iveo. We are disconnected. Flight plan complete. Wonderful. Yeah, those were Iveo airplanes there. That's cool. Cool to see that. All right. Replay mode. I'm going to run it forward here just to landing.
1,000.
Right here. So we can watch the landing part of this. Flaps full, brakes released. I'm going to show you. I'm going to tell you the landing right here in just a minute. I want to see what you guys think. You tell me what you think we did. Got a little squirrely there when we came across the that final little bay right here. Didn't look terrible from that angle. Oh, come on. No bounce. Hold on, let's do set the camera up here for the final replay shot. Just past the markers though, not bad on that. $500? No, come on. Where's my gear? Ooh, that looks gross. It's because my T-Lot is set at 50 right now. I'm going to turn that off. Ah, just a little skip. A little skip. A little skip, not mad. 315. It was a 315. All right. A 315. With that said, though, I'm going to let y'all have the final replay. I'm going to run it forward a little bit, and I'm going to get out of here because I got to get things packed up and headed in. So, final replay for y'all. Turn the sounds down a little bit. You can watch our Queenstown approach. Guys, it's been fun. I won't be here tomorrow. I'm off doing the real thing down to Cancun. What am I flying now? 321? Let me see. But man, 350, it felt good to get back in this airplane. I actually really enjoyed this flight. Landing, I got to get better at. I got to practice my landing some more on this thing. It does land. It lands different. Lands different. I am in a. Oh, I can't load it right now. I think I'm in a 321 tomorrow. I hope so. But after that, it'll be maybe Friday, probably not Saturday, and not Sunday. So it might be a few days before you see me live again. But hopefully, we'll have some more exciting stuff coming out in the next couple of weeks here with the Flight FX citation. We're still waiting on the BFU. Still waiting on Sim Update 3 beta. I feel like we're on the verge from breakout mode here with 2024. Y'all have been awesome. Thank you all for the support again. Thank you for the gifted subs, the super chats, the bank angle checks. Have a wonderful rest of your Thursday afternoon or Wednesday afternoon. And have a wonderful rest of your week. If I don't see you until next week, stay safe, stay healthy. I'm B1. See you.
One thousand.
Sync rate